What is up, RotoGrinders? 3.5 hours of nonstop NFL DFS conversation starts right now. It is the People's Show. It is a big week for fantasy football. You got your best balls are already done. If you got Kyle Pitts, you're moving on. If you don't have Kyle Pitts, it's all over. All that research, all those podcasts, all that drafting. Oh, you should just click Kyle Pitts. That's it. You're good to go. If you don't have him, sorry. See you next year. Playoff as far as your season-long stuff, probably some playoffs. This week. This is DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports. We care about today and today only. DFS, we're talking about FanDuel. We're talking about DraftKings. The next 3.5 hours. Myself, Bobby Gomes, $4 million winner. TastefulTides, Tim Buell, former $100,000 winner, like 10 times, give or take. Nobody's counting. Tim, happy
more than 10, Dean. More than 10.
Yeah, Dean's shorting Tim.
I know that. I mean, come on now.
So, somebody is counting apparently. Well, I don't know why I was underselling you. I should oversell. Yeah, oversell. But yeah, what's up, Tim? Big boy slate might be the biggest slate we've had the year. I've not actually gone through like later on in the season. We have I think the Saturday games start next week with all college football being gone, minus the the playoff stuff and the bowl games. You gotta fire up that Pop-Tart Bowl. Yeah, we have 13 games, 8 early, 5 late. Good distribution. Good job by the NFL. Shout out to them. 8 and 5. We do like that. We have some big totals. We have some low totals. We have some expected blowouts. We have no value. None. The sites don't care. They don't want us to have nice things. They don't want us to have nice lineups. They don't want us to stack Detroit and the Rams because there's nobody cheap. We'll talk about it. I'm looking forward to the cheap players you guys are going to tell me to play because outside of Tinsley, I don't know who else there is, and I don't even feel good about him. How about that? But I'm going to play him because how else am I going to make lineups? Tim, how are things? Happy Sunday morning. Happy NFL. What's up?
Yeah, big slate here. 13 games you mentioned. Yeah, definitely. I think really the whole story, the story of the day really is just this absolute lack of value. I mean, it is really, really ugly on the value streets today. Salary saving options just simply don't exist. It's going to be pretty ugly. Mitch Tinsley is going to be the chalk, like cash game play, the chalk single entry play. I think he's a really solid fade across the board in GPPs, but in cash games, you're probably just gonna have to eat that as your wide receiver 3, just because he's 3,100, and it's a really good game environment, and there just is nobody else to play that's cheap. So, yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be it's a tough slate, because there's a lot of high-end options and just no value. So this is going to be, I think, one of the more challenging weeks for GPPs. And like the last couple of weeks, we've seen these relatively like low-scoring slates. I don't think that's going to be the case today. Like today, with the amount of games, the amount of firepower on the slate, we're going to see some like absolutely monster ceilings here that win like the large field GPPs.
BTTH Pod in the chat says Tinsley going nowhere near my cash game lineup. Playmaker says, what about Thornton for 3K on Kansas City? Like the dude with a literal zero floor. Like this is what we're talking about. This is the nonsense we're talking about. You're just begging for like 150-yard catch. Wasn't it Thornton last week who dropped a 50-yarder in the end zone? I'm like, maybe it's one opportunity. At least am I imagining that? I feel like, obviously the floor is not great.
He definitely had a red zone target. I can't remember how catchable it was. So I do remember that. I vaguely remember that play though. I don't know. I can't remember if it was like an all-out drop or not.
3 targets. He had 2 catches for 19 yards. He did have a deep ball. I'm remembering correctly. I believe somebody confirmed that he had a 50-yarder in the end zone, and I think it was very catchable, but he just could not hold on. But 17 catches. This is the nonsense we're talking about, and I guess it's an interesting pivot for sure in tournaments. But I want to be positive. I like to be positive, Tim. Positivity. And that's what people call me, Positively Pete. Behind the scenes, you don't call me that, but other people do. But I use the same energy to lower prices that you do the raising. That's it. That's all I ask. because everybody gets raised up as the season progresses. The players that are good, nobody loses salary. Nobody loses it. We went on the rant of the Pick Six show about Ricky Pearsall, who's got combined like 8 fantasy points in the last 3 weeks, and somehow he's 5K or 5-1 on DK. Bobby, how are things Sunday? Everything good? Are we gonna get some value plays from you? Because I need some value plays. How are we gonna make this? I don't know if you know this, Bob. We live in the world of a salary cap. So how do we make lineups we actually like today?
Yeah, so I'm having the same issue with Mitch Tinsley that pretty much everyone else is having. I think it makes it more. It's not only Tinsley. I think the value makes getting up to McCaffrey, like the lack of value. I think McCaffrey is a phenomenal play, obviously. I just think like if you don't get that Tinsley guy, it could possibly hurt McCaffrey, right? Like getting up to the 9K spend. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Tinsley is probably my biggest decision point on who I'm going to be under on, and then CMC as well. I don't think I'm going to be totally like. I'll probably be slightly under the field rather than being over the field.
I'm probably going to be a little under on CMC as well. I'm a little bit concerned with
the lack of value.
Well, yeah. It's the salary. I'm a little bit concerned with the back. I think the mid-tier running backs are better than whatever nonsense we have available at receiver, and I want to spend up the receivers if I can. That's where probably the best plays are on the slate. They're also, projected to win by 2 touchdowns. They're facing, a Titans team that has a 16 total. I think I don't want to say they're going to pull him out early, but I can see them yielding to Brian Robinson a little bit earlier and working him in a little bit earlier. That's the story I'm kind of telling myself, and it probably is nothing, but he did pop up in the injury report a couple of days ago. I think it was a back. Speaking of injuries, by the way, TJ?
This is not important, so I truly apologize for interrupting, but I can't help but bring it up. I have one team that has advanced in best ball, 2 with Kyle Pitts of my 9 that advanced, but one of them also with Kirk Cousins. And so I have a Cousins and Pitts team with Brian Robinson. And so if CMC happens to not go or CMC happens to be somewhat limited, we are cooking.
There you go.
My 2 Pitts teams have CMC.
Oh, well, there you go. You guys are at odds.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a hedge for you too, Bobby. So if you're not playing CMC in DFS, if he has a big day, at least you're probably moving on or well positioned to move on. And I'm not necessarily saying that the back thing is a thing. They could have just threw on there the injury report just because, but I'm trying to think of reasons not to play him, basically. Just because I think that the mid-tier running back stuff is better than the mid-tier receiver stuff. They're talking in the chat about playing 2 tight ends. Yeah, that's what optimals are giving us too. But that shouldn't be like the optimal way to play, like 2 tight ends. Like nobody's ever thrilled to play 2 tight ends. The fantasy football, like you shouldn't be forced into that. You can pivot to it, but if we're talking about that being like the optimal way to go, and that's how I'm seeing some optimals.
Yeah, I mean that's a very, very super standard way to build both in optimals and in sims. I don't necessarily mind building 2 tight ends. I
don't mind building 2 tight ends.
I think
that's
okay.
Not the traditional. If the salaries were correct, you shouldn't be forced to play 2 tight ends just because you have no salary.
There's a traditional way, Dean.
Yes.
We live in a society. You just want to play 3 or 3. You just want to play 3.
I want to play good players.
Price running backs.
Dean wants to play 3 running backs, the highest props.
No, I just want to play good players. That's it. That's my bar. Let me play good players, and they're not letting me play good players. That's the point. Or like it's a bunch of pretty good players and no elite players. I'm sorry, you guys like I like a challenge. I don't want to be a pick 'em, but there's a happy median here someplace. I think. You have fun playing AJ Barner on the flex. Enjoy that.
I hate it. Hate it every week. Every week. Someone said on the show the other night, they were like, "Oh, he gets goal line touches." I'm like, "Yeah, but he still gets me 5 every week." So.
More goal line touches than Kenny Walker.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like Kenny Walker projecting pretty well today. Did you notice that?
Yes, I've noticed. I've noticed him being the worst player in my best lineups, like for the 7th straight week last week.
Who's this? You talking about Kenneth Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even catch the first part, but I knew the second. I knew it was Kenneth Walker.
What do we do with
Kenneth
him?
Walker is
What
do we do with him? Kenny Walker.
I mean, if he's going to be 16%, and if I was like building 150 like you, I might get like 5%, but I'm not going overweight. He's definitely would be an underweight play for me. It's just, I think running back is really, really strong. This slate is so big too. Like, I don't think you necessarily, I don't really love his ceiling. So I don't think that you necessarily need to like be going out of your way to play him. So like I said, if he's going to be 15%, I might get 5% in 150, maybe one out of 20, something like that. But he's not somebody that I'm really that interested in.
I was thinking about switching him for Sharp. Sorry for cutting you off, Dean, twice.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's funny though, Bobby. I've been burned by Walker, and now I sort of feel like you say you put a bunch of money in a slot machine, and then then somebody all of a sudden sits in that chair and binks it because you fed the machine a whole bunch prior. I don't know if that works that way, but theoretically, go with me as far as the hypothetical. Now I'm afraid not to play him because I feel like he kind of owes me, the FOMO, I guess, on Walker. And it's the perfect setup. They're massive, 2 touchdown favorites against Grandpa Rivers. But of course, Charbonnet is going to come in and siphon a touchdown or two. You'd have to imagine, possibly, maybe. So
he's getting one. He's definitely getting one.
Maybe just play Charbonnet.
That's what I'm thinking. Because what's Charbonnet's price currently?
It's less. And he's the guy that scores touchdowns.
We need value, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. And the chat's telling me the tight ends have outperformed receivers. Yes, I understand that. But let me play a tight end at the receiver spot. Well, they won't let me. Then that doesn't, the point is not as strong as what you're making. But I do agree. If I could play some of these tight ends in the wide receiver spot, if I could play Fannin as a wide receiver today, I would, and I'd be fine. But they won't let me. And I want that third running back, as Bobby pointed it out, and like 3 running backs. So that utility spot is precious. There's a value to that spot. It's Superstar Sunday. Superstar Sunday. We want to give away a week free of RG Premium. How are we going to do that? Well, you tell me what Superstar I'm talking about in the Discord channel. RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chats. Get in there and tell me what Superstar I'm talking about. The first clue is scrolling. TJ is on top of it. It is Ring. I know you guys love that clue. Ring is my first clue today. We have 5, some bonus clues if necessary. Tell me what Superstar I am talking about in the Discord channel. All right. Touch on cash games, Tim, because of course we're going to go and do our game-by-game deal soon enough. Throw some teams into some tiers, but we do want to touch on cash games before we do so. Are you playing the 2 tight end? As optimals are trying to tell us to do. Is that what you're doing? 2 tight ends in cash?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the blitz optimal right now, and it's just like team jam everybody in and then just punt everything off. I mean, I might kind of mix and match like the actual players that are in that lineup. I'm not going to go with that exact lineup. But the whole theory behind it, just kind of like stars and scrubs, that's likely what I'm going to be doing in cash games today. CJ Stroud is the cash game guy today, 5,200 against Arizona. He's going to be the cash game chalk. I think that's completely fine. If you have the money, I think Lamar Jackson at 6,400 is completely viable. If you wanted to show up with the cash games with him, I think that's okay, just because that matchup is so strong. I kind of like Marcus Mariota. Maybe he's more of like a single entry guy, maybe not quite a cash game guy, but I do like that, and I do like Jackson Dart quite a bit as well. But I think it's really just CJ Stroud or Lamar Jackson as your cash game quarterbacks. Running backs, I'm not really worried about the CMC injury, to be completely honest. Like if they're gonna suit him up, I know it's the 49ers and they throw curveballs all the time. Who knows if he's even hurt? Like, I mean, it's like I don't even like. I think they're just full of BS all the time. So I don't really know. I guess I'm just really not that worried about it. So I'm definitely gonna be playing CMC today.
You like him more than Gibbs?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Gibbs is definitely like, if you're like, really risk averse and you're like, I don't want to deal with this whole CMC back thing, then play Gibbs. I mean, that's fine. I mean, Gibbs is obviously an incredibly solid play that's got a good floor and a good ceiling. So, I mean, he's completely fine. I think there's Saquon Barkley as well. I expect the Eagles to really kind of come back to life here in this matchup. I think this is a really good bounce back spot for them. So I think Saquon is definitely in the conversation. And then Woody Marks, he's the other cash game staple. So you're going CMC, Gibbs, perhaps Saquon, and then you're definitely going Woody Marks. He's going to be another super, super chalky piece in cash, 5,600. And then it's the same. It's basically the same thing every week. It's Puka Nacua. A lot of optimals are giving him Monra. I like Jamar Chase more. My two premium wide receivers are going to be Puka and Jamar. JSN is completely fine for GPPs, but I don't think he's quite in the cash game streets this week. But I mean, obviously, if you don't have the 100, I guess you could play JSN over Puka, but I'm going Puka this week.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough between those two. I wonder what the field does with Michael Wilson, just because he's been so amazing. He still projects pretty well, but I would rather, if I'm in that price point, I'd rather play Nico Collins at 60 for $100 more.
I think people are afraid of Arizona's defense, Houston's defense. I don't think he's going to get played as much as he probably should be. And again, not to harp on this, but his price has gone up, rightfully so. He absolutely deserved the price bump, but tough matchup, and we're pinching pennies. And we have this 55 total shootout with the Detroit and the Rams, so people want a piece of that. And then Chase, basically all by himself there, likely playing some catch up there against Baltimore. So I just think Wilson's going to be kind of by the wayside, and despite the game log being incredible. Of course, Marv is still out, if people missed it. You also mentioned Marks. I should mention Chubb not expected to play for Houston. Yeah. Also should mention the Washington game. I dropped this in the chat a couple times. You guys can read this whole thing at your own leisure. Roth is all over everything. This is the only game that's yellow-orange. There's a bunch of games that are yellow. Yellow in Kansas City, yellow in Cincinnati, yellow in Jacksonville, yellow in Chicago, just brutal cold in Chicago. Washington, Giants, yellow-orange. He said this is maybe the most interesting of the cold weather games because heavy snow pregame should clear before kickoff, but they do not have the benefit. There's no heated field for the Giants. A lot of these teams have heated fields. Cincinnati does. Kansas City does. No heated field for the Giants. So just be aware. He says it's basically going to be a frozen field for the Giants. Some models are also showing sustained winds around 15 miles per hour. Others around 10 to 15. Possible gusts around 25. But again, freezing cold, 15-mile-per-hour wind in a frozen field certainly is not ideal. He wants to stress there's no heated field there. But didn't mean to cut you off there, Tim. I just want to get that out there. This time of year, weather's lurking. I imagine Roth will give an update as well, but that's the only one that has orange. Of course, there's no red either.
It's kind of like you knew I was about to talk about Wan'Dale Robinson and Terry McLaurin, who are two guys that I absolutely love today.
Yeah, I did.
I was kind of glad that Debo is playing, just because if he wasn't going to be, I imagine that Terry McLaurin was going to get super steamed. Like, he's already showing some ownership. I would expect it to go even higher. I really do like Terry McLaurin today. I think you can play him in all formats. He's just kind of tough because he's in that mid-range. Same thing with Wan'Dale. So it's you basically can't punt, you can't spend up with two. You can't spend up for two premium wide receivers and play Wan'Dale and or McLaurin. So maybe a way to get a little bit contrarian is to only play one premium wide receiver and then play both of McLaurin and Wan'Dale and not play Mitch Tinsley. I think that's an interesting way to perhaps maybe just play single entry. Maybe that's not the correct floor play for cash games, but I think that's interesting for GPP single entry stuff because I like that entire game. Yeah, that temperature does sound a little bit concerning, but I still really like that game. I love Mariota. I love Jackson Dart today. I love I love McLaurin. I love Slayton and Wan'Dale for GPP. So I really do like this game quite a bit.
All right. We do want to get into our tiers. Anything else of note you want to say as far as cash games? Oh, you're going double tight end? Yes.
Yeah, you're probably going double tight end today. I think Harold Fannin is the best at 4K. And then, obviously we have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in that premium Bengals matchup that is just so unbelievable for tight ends. So crazy. I think they are definitely in the conversation. AJ Barner has to be in the conversation as well. The Blitz loves Juwan Johnson. I don't currently love that, but I mean he's fine. There's a lot of different tight ends here that you can go with. It's definitely I think George Kittle's super interesting. He's more of a GPP play, not a cash game play, but I really do like him a ton as well. But really, you're living in this $4K to like $3,200 range, and you're probably just going to be playing two of these guys in cash.
I'm seeing Roth. Thank you, TJ. Roth actually issued a correction. Apparently, MetLife does have a heated field. That should help with some of the snow melt and make the field surface more playable. Roth tweeted it out. TJ's on top of it. So, it's still going to be really, really cold there. Two teams that want to lose. I can see that game going both ways, man. We'll talk about it when we get there. But the Giants and Washington, I was hitting the Tankathon. I believe the Giants right now are the number one team as far as getting the number one pick. There's a couple other teams that have 2 wins. I think it's Tennessee and maybe the Jets. I don't remember who else it was, but I believe they have the tiebreaker. Washington has 3 wins. Like both teams want to lose. They don't want Dart running. He's going to scramble, but they're not. They didn't draw anything up for him last week. Chris Rodriguez, by the way, C-Rod is, seems to be highly questionable as well. He's got that groin. We're not sure if he's going to play with his groin today or not. I was going down the other injury stuff. You mentioned Debo, his teammate. Debo had the fish. I mean, not 100% Debo Samuel, but that never seems to work out. But I can see that game going both ways. And Philip Rivers is starting. I kind of referenced that if you guys missed it. Rivers is starting today.
That's just – I don't see how that's going to ever succeed.
No.
That's just going to be a total disaster.
He might pull an Antonio Brown and just like at halftime, that's it, boys. It was fun. I don't want to die out here. And what an indictment on not just all quarterbacks, but Leonard's like, hey, I am healthy. You guys drafted me.
Imagine how he feels. He must feel like the biggest bum in the NFL right now.
And it's the worst spot. The worst in Seattle. There's 12 guys chasing you, not 11, but 12 guys chasing you. One of the better defenses in all football. It's really going to be terrible. I mean, look, I wish him well. I suppose I don't really get it. He's friends with Steichen. I guess that's one of the reasons why he's doing it. But okay, good luck. What a terrible setup, though. Like it's not a soft landing by any means. Bobby, you got anything before we dive in and do a little game by game, throw some teams in some tiers?
I'm pretty much in agreement with Tim on all the positions for cash games. Like I think it's Chase and Puka for me at the wide receiver spot. Tight end, I get the Fannin play. I think that's super strong as well. Looks like it's double tight end for the majority of my teams. I think Stroud is probably the cash game guy, if I had to guess. See Broccoli Boy in chat. No, I had to politely decline the offer from the Colts,
Oh, but it's funny.
It's funny you said that, Bobby.
It's funny you say that, Bobby, but because good segue. I don't know if Broccoli Boy, he just had an inclination or what. It's funny you said that. So today's tiers. We're gonna throw tiers up here in a second. And it's funny because I send it to TJ without any context. He's probably looking at this board. It's like, what do these 5 things have in common? What a very strange board.
Knew exactly what it was.
Oh, you knew it. You knew it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Colts had some choices, and they're like, okay, we lost our quarterback. Richardson's out because of the exercising injury. What are we doing? So this is the list of quarterbacks or just athletes. You could say athletes, fictitious athletes mostly, that the Colts should have considered calling before saying, screw it, let's call Phillip Rivers. Let's see if Phillip Rivers is willing to give it a go. So, like, who do you think? And it's fictitious athletes, Bobby. Maybe in movies or TV.
Didn't we do this like 3 weeks ago, though?
No, we did something with Chad Powers. We did something, nothing to do with the Colts. This is like who the Colts should call, to lead them to the playoffs. You know what I mean? But kind of sort of some of that. That's why I did not include Chad Powers. If he was available, I think Chad Powers would have been included. But, so basically, who should have been called before Phillip Rivers? 1 through 5 as far as the power rankings. Number 1 on the board, of course, the best quarterback in all of movies, Willie Beeman. Willie Beeman, Jamie Foxx from Any Given Sunday. You got Shane Falco, the replacements. It's right there in the name, right? The replacements. That's what the Colts need. That was a strike, but let's not get into it. The Colts need, somebody to replace Daniel Jones. Right in the middle, I don't know how it's going to work out, and there's nothing in the rules that says he can't play. But, Air Bud is spectacular in like 7 or 8 different sports. Now, typically he's a receiver, a golden retriever, if you will. But I feel like Air Bud, if nothing else, could run like a wildcat offense, right? Good luck tackling Air Bud in the open field. So right in the middle, you got Air Bud. And then there's Uncle Rico, who, like, allegedly, there's no film to confirm this, but Uncle Rico says, like, he could throw the ball over the mountains. He's got a heck of an arm, so I'm told. And then this upstart, Bobby Gomes, if nothing else,
I think I have the best quarterback name of this group.
Shane Falco is a really good name.
Yeah.
Shane Falco is really strong, but you could run a 4-1 if nothing else. Bobby Gomes, of course, from the People Show, this show right now. That's if the people, Bobby Gomes. Yeah, that's Bobby right there. Can you confirm? You did not get a call. Is that correct?
I did not get a call. I'm definitely the best quarterback on this board. Should not be in the 5-hole, but
better than Willie Beeman. Have you not seen Any Given Sunday?
Better than Willie Beeman. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Tim. Have you seen Any Given Sunday?
I have, yeah.
You remember how good Willie Beeman was? He stepped in and he was fabulous. But
I feel like he's probably better than Bobby. I mean,
yeah,
not sure, but I think he is.
Johnny Utah was also considered. I didn't want to double down on Keanu Reeves stuff, but yeah,
I was gonna say I helped with this list and I had Where's Johnny Utah, Dean?
Yeah, Johnny Utah was considered.
Oh yeah, you threw an Air Bud.
Yeah, Air Bud.
He wasn't on the list.
Yeah, that I called an audible. Like, imagine Air Bud running the Wildcat. Not much of an arm, but you're just basically got to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. That's essentially what you got to do today and survive. Okay, so that is our tiers. We got 13 games. Let's get to it. Oh, nobody banked it, right? No banks today as far as Superstar Sunday. Yeah, not Joe Namath or Shohei Ohtani or Charles Barkley. Not Rob Gronkowski either. Tier 2 is Tier 2. Clue 2. Clue 2 is fast. Fast is the second clue. Get in that Discord channel and tell me what superstar I'm talking about. Okay. 13 games. We got to be a little bit faster today, boys. A lot of games. First game, Chargers, Chiefs. Tim won the coin toss backstage. 41.5 is the total. Kansas City, 6-point favorites here versus Justin Herbert and his Nintendo Power Glove. This game feels like it's kind of sort of lost in this slate. It's happening. I don't know if anybody's excited to play anybody here as far as DFS, but certainly in theory, you can play some stuff, I guess. Tim, Chiefs, Chargers. Are we? You can be a little bit pickier. You can be a little bit more picky in this slate. How do we feel about the Chiefs and the Chargers?
Yeah, I do not really like this game at all. It's kind of weird. Like the Chargers just are not executing their offense very well. They've been really abysmal in the pass game over the last month. The Chiefs defense really is quite solid. The Chargers only have a 17.5 implied team total, which is pretty ugly. They're playing this game on the road. It's just, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm actually going to be putting the Chargers at the very bottom, right in the Bobby Gomes tier. I just don't have any interest, like even as one-offs, let alone as stacks. It's just really hard to decipher like which wide receiver you'd even pick. I don't have any interest in Hampton. This game for me just really is not on my radar. I think you can play Mahomes, and I think you could go back to Rashee Rice at really minimal ownership just because there's so many stud wide receivers on this slate. And Rice has that same ability. So, but I mean, honestly, I'm not playing this game in a 3 max. So I'm going to put the Chiefs in the Uncle Rico tier. A little bit of interest, but really not much at all.
Yeah, it is a really interesting pivot for Rice because, like you said, nobody's going to be playing him. He's really lost in the slate. Kansas City's still mathematically alive with 5% chance, according to playoffstatus.com, to make the playoffs. They have to win out and get some luck. Chargers well positioned to make the playoffs at 9-4, 77% chance to hit the playoffs. Bobby,
I think even if the Chiefs win out, sorry, Dean, even if the Chiefs win out, they only have a 38% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, they got to get lucky. They need a lot of things to line up for them. Yeah, Bobby, we have one team in Bobby Gomes, and that's the Chargers. Uncle Rico's got a team as well, Kansas City. It's really weird to see these teams in these tiers, but I think the field kind of agrees. Does Bobby agree?
So I am actually personally in agreement with Tim on both counts, but I'm going to make a case to move KC up one slot to Airbud because I think Rashee Rice is definitely a good tournament pivot. I think Mahomes is a good tournament pivot. And the one guy who I don't want to play, but if he did well, because I have a ton of KC stacks and Rashee Rice in my best ball, it'd be fantastic for me. And I think it's good tournament leverage is Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice stacks with Mahomes. So I'm going to put them in Airbud because I think in tournaments they work. And a guy like Xavier Worthy on a slate where we're star for value at 4-5, he does have a very high ceiling, and I'm searching for ceilings. So Chiefs are going to be an Airbud for me, but I understand why they were like originally. I was like, yeah, Uncle Rico makes a ton of sense, but just going to try to be different out the gate.
It sounds like you're disagreeing with yourself because you agreed and then you disagreed.
Based on the projections, they should be an Uncle Rico.
Yeah,
I think Rashee Rice is a fantastic pivot at 7-7, but for me, just like the tournament leverage, these receivers are tied to Mahomes or star for value. You see a guy like Worthy who is 4-5 on DK. I just want to put them in Airbud.
I don't really see. I mean, I in theory, Worthy has upside. He just hasn't done it once this year. Not once. What is it happening? We're at week 14, week 15.
Hopefully today.
I thought he would be better this year too, but at some point we might just say, hey, this guy is what he is. 1 touchdown the entire season. It just doesn't seem like it's happening. I think Tim's right. I think Rice is the most interesting play in this game. But I would put Kansas City back and Uncle Rico give the point to Tim. Bobby, next game, Baltimore, Cincinnati, 51.5 is the total rematch of a game we saw a couple weeks ago. Rematch of a game where, things could have got a lot better for Lamar, if not for a penalty they called the Zay Flowers touchdown, if not for Isaiah Likely fumbling the ball at like the half-yard line. We have no Higgins. So this is why we're talking about Tinsley, the best 3K receiver out there, I guess, because somebody has to be. Jamar Chase certainly can see a pile of targets for sure. Lamar's been disappointing too, but maybe getting better. Derrick Henry, great matchup here versus the Bengals. Baltimore, Cincy. What do you got, Bobby?
I would like to say someone pointed out in chat, no Hollywood as well for KC. So, yeah.
What about Thornton?
What about Thornton or Juju? Yeah, it would be my last case to get KC bumped up there. I'm going to put Baltimore and Cincinnati and Shane Falco. Jamar Chase, probably my favorite wide receiver playing the slate. I think Zay Flowers is a good play. Tinsley's going to be the value, but I don't know if I love Tinsley value, and it seems like we're kind of pretty much off the Tinsley value in terms of not off it completely, but we all seem like we'd want to be underweight on the Tinsley value. DeAndre Hopkins is interesting to me, just because he's in the Tinsley range. He's a 3K receiver on the other side, where Tinsley's 3-1. He's going to be chalky. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, there's not Gesicki is a great tight end play. I think Mark Andrews and Likely for me are guys that I'm going to have more of than Gesicki, but I think Gesicki from a projection standpoint stands out really well. He's probably cash game consideration for a lot of people. So yeah, that's mainly where I'm going to put both Baltimore and Cincy and Shane Falco.
Jason in chat says, talk about a guy that never gets there, Zay Flowers. Yeah. He's immune to touchdowns, and the Bengals, the one thing they do good is they subdue receivers. So I don't really love Zay today either. I think it's pretty clear. Tim already alluded to it. Andrews and Likely are really well positioned. The Bengals are giving up a historic amount of fantasy points, amount of yards to tight ends this season. Not just tight ends not just the one, but the two as well. Tim, how do we feel about the placement here for Bobby? Both teams hanging out with Shane Falco.
So I'm going to put the Baltimore Ravens in the Willie Beeman tier. I think they're a top tier team today. I love Lamar. I love Derrick Henry. I love both the tight ends. I think, you can play Zay Flowers and GPPs. Obviously, not in single entry or 3 max, but I think Derrick Henry is pretty close to a cash game play. I think personally I would go Saquon over him in cash, but I think it's super close. Derrick Henry and GPPs is absolutely fantastic. So I think Baltimore, in my opinion, basically has to be a top tier team. There's just so many different ways you could stack this team. I'm fine with the Bengals where they are. Tinsley is super sketchy value. Jamar Chase, though, I think is fantastic. I think Chase Brown and GPPs is okay. I think Joe Burrow and Mike Gesicki stacks are okay in GPPs as well. So, you could do double tight end out of this game. Really go Andrews Gesicki or Likely Gesicki. You could play into this game super heavily. 51.5 game total here is fantastic. But yeah, Cincinnati just a little bit lower than Baltimore for me. But Baltimore, I think, is one of the best stacks on the board.
I think you'd also go, I don't know if you said it, Andrews Likely. I don't think that's
yes. Yeah, you could double Lamar with just double tight ends.
Yeah.
We had a commenter in chat talk about that just now. I think that's really fantastic.
And Yoshivas is in play too, I think, at 4-1.
Yeah, Yoshivas. It's going to be interesting because Tinsley's going to be so highly owned. Yoshivas is going to be kind of forgotten about. And yeah, points per dollar wise, Tinsley is a better play, but it's not like Tinsley's some kind of smash here. So Yoshivas and GPPs, I think, is a really good play.
Our guy in chat, your boy Tim, is saying, Broccoli Boy is saying, point to Bobby. Ravens can't be up top. I'm giving the point to Tim. I disagree with Broccoli. I disagree with Bobby. I like Baltimore a lot today. And I think the placement of Cincinnati is correct. So Tim has an early 2-0 lead. Jets, Jags, 40.5 total. This is another one of those games that are just like a scheduled blowout. 2-touchdown favorite. Brady Cook quarterbacking the Jets. Etienne really, really well positioned for success today. He certainly separated himself from Tootin last week, in part because Tootin fumbled. I think he had 2 touches and 2 fumbles, if I'm not mistaken. One might have been lost. One was recovered, I believe. You don't know for sure that's going to continue going forward, but it seems like Etienne has certainly separated himself from whatever battle they had earlier in the season. I don't know what Jets you guys can consider playing. I don't think I'm getting there with Brady Cook. If anything, the Jags defense is more appealing. This is your board, Tim. Jags, Jets, what do you got?
It's funny. I think there are some Jets here that you could play. I think A.D. Mitchell is okay. I think John Mechie is okay. I kind of had some interest in Jeremy Rucker early in the week just because he's still in. But the problem with that is tight end's really, really strong today. And there is kind of like a weird kind of opportunity cost amongst all these really strong valued tight ends. So I'm a little bit lower on Rucker. But if you find yourself there and needing somebody at the Stone Min, he's the guy. So I was going to put Jets in the bottom, but I'm actually not going to. They're going to go in the Uncle Rico tier for me, just because I think there are some guys here that you can play. I'm certainly not crazy about it. They have an under 14 implied team total, but just because of salary, I think you can. I'm certainly not going to be playing any Brady Cook. It's not a good matchup for Breece Hall, but some of these pass catchers, I think you can play as one-offs. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is okay. Obviously, it's a fantastic spot for Travis Etienne, but the stack as a whole, I don't really love. I'm going to put them, I guess, right in the middle. I'm going to go Jacksonville in the Air Bud tier.
Bobby?
I'm in agreement with Tim all around. The stack that I would like for Jacksonville is actually ETN and the Jags D. The Jets, 80 Mitchell, Mechie, those guys are fine if you're trying to get off Tinsley chalk, but I don't love that. I'm actually bumped the Jets down to Bobby Gomes, even though it should be up. I mean, it should be down to Uncle Rico.
I just love that that's a sentence on the show today.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, the Jets, I'm not interested in really playing Jet stacks, but in large field stuff, if you want to play 80 Mitchell, that's fine.
Yeah, so that's the only argument to keep the Jets in the 4-hole is I'm desperate for a receiver that can do something that's not that expensive. And I guess it could be Mitchell. I guess it could be Mechie, but I don't feel great about either. Tim, I mean, how many lineups are you making until you get to 80 Mitchell?
Honestly, I think you could play him in a 3-max.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I built a team that I just as a placeholder that I build right before the show, and I landed on 80 Mitchell in my single entry team. Now I'm not committing to that, and honestly, I'm probably not going to do that. But it's close. It's close.
Yeah.
The only reason is I don't know if I can trust Brady Cook to do anything. That's the only issue. So.
I don't think I can either, but like if I'm making a bunch of lineups, I think I can play Mitchell. I think I can play Mechie, but I don't feel great about any of it. The floor is low. You mentioned Rucker. Yeah. It's not that much more for tight ends I feel like distinctly better about. So like the point you kind of made as well. And I do agree with Bobby. I think the best stack in this game is ETN Jacksonville defense.
You better agree with me. Down 2-0.
And I am gonna agree. We're gonna keep the Jets in Bobby Gomes. So 2-1, Bobby. Arizona at Houston, another game that looks like a blowout here. Arizona 10-point dogs here on the road, 42.5 total. You know, Stroud is one of the cash game quarterbacks. We're going to lose Nick Chubb, so we're assuming that it's Woody Mark season that should be his backfield. Collins projects pretty solid here for, you know, not all the way up as far as the receivers, but also looks really good. We talked about Michael Wilson earlier. He's been incredible. You know, and frankly, probably should be more expensive. You consider the recent performance with the matchup. Houston is one of the best defenses, if not the best. And then there's Trey McBride, who I just don't have the money for him. I don't like. Good luck. I mean, I'm not going to say you can't play him, but I was trying to figure out a way to play him, and just it's really, really hard. Much easier to play Wilson if you're going to get to one of those two. Bobby, Cardinals, Texans. What do you got?
Yeah, Cardinals are going to be in the Bobby Gomes tier. No interest in the Cardinals. I understand people would. Michael Wilson's been playing well. He looked great last week, but I can get Nico Collins for $100 more. And I really like Nico today. Woody Marks is going to be phenomenal chalk. Really like Woody Marks. Stroud.
Are you looking to be overweight Woody or underweight Bobby on Marks?
Over.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like almost 2x the field over.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Schultz, I think, is in play with Stroud. Jaden Higgins, I think you can consider Christian Kirk as ancillary pieces and larger field stuff. Jaden Higgins might be able to make it in your smaller field stuff at 4,200. I'm going to put the Houston Texans and Willie Beeman.
But that's like, 60, 70% for Marks if you're playing 2X? Is he 35?
62% to be exact.
62, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like a really, really good spot. You know, big time home favorite in the backfield should essentially be his. We did see Dare steal a touchdown at the goal line last week. Was that last week or the week prior?
Marks had gone out though with the Marks had gone to the sideline in that scenario.
Yeah. He missed I don't know, one play.
Yeah, I actually needed that to ship that showdown slate. I needed him to score there.
He was dealing with the knee. I don't think it's very serious though. I believe his injury designation is gone. It's not on the injury report, but he did have a mild knee thing. But yeah, we got Houston in the top tier. We have Arizona in the bottom. Tim, are we making any adjustments?
Yeah, no issue with Arizona. It's really just Michael Wilson, and that's it. It's really between Willie Beeman and Shane Falco for Houston for me. There's so many teams that I'm looking to be putting in the top tier this week. It's tough. I guess I'm going to leave it. I'll leave it. I agree with Bobby. It's really close, but there's so many different ways you can play Houston. It's such a good spot. There's so many different stacking ways that you can play it. So I think they're deserving to be in the top tier.
Yeah, Stroud looks solid. Marks looks really good. The defense and Collins, all four of those look pretty good to me. I don't know if Stroud's just going to break the slate. I think he's certainly fine for cash, like you were talking about earlier, Tim. Nobody has got today's Superstar Sunday, so we're going to drop a third clue in that Discord channel. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. First two clues were ring and fast. The third clue for Superstar Sunday, it is punk. Ring, fast, punk. Get that Discord channel and tell me what superstar I'm talking about. It's not Usain Bolt or Tim Duncan or Tyreek Hill or Deion Sanders or Steph Curry or Kyle Schwarber, who's known for his speed. Not Asia Wilson or Reggie Bush or Tim Brown. A lot of guesses going down there in the Discord channel. Fire off a new one. Only one guess per clue drop. Tim, the board is yours. Washington Giants, 46.5 is the total. Giants are 2.5, 3-point favorites. Dart taking on Mariota. We don't know about C-Rod. C-Rod seems legitimately, that's Chris Rodriguez, legitimately a game time decision. Actives and inactives, 11:30. The crew coming after us, they'll know. They'll let you know. GPP Final Takes, Erik and Jordan. But, as of right now, I think C-Rod's interesting. Game script, you kind of got to be ahead with him. He doesn't really catch the ball a heck of a lot. But he seems to be legitimately a game time with his groin. Deebo Samuel had the fish, but he is expected to play despite being a little bit ill. This is Tim's board. Giants, Commanders, what do you got?
So I love Marcus Mariota and Terry McLaurin this week, but that's really it in terms of the stack. Like, I'm not getting to any Deebo. I'm not getting to any of this backfield. I'm not playing any of this John Bates, Ben Sinnott stuff, Colson Yankoff, and I'm not really going to any. So I'm not getting to any of these tight ends. So it's really just Mariota and McLaurin, who I do like, and I really like the other side of this game. So I'm going to put Washington in the Airbud tier, and then I'm going to put the Giants. I really like Theo Johnson this week. He's another one of these mid-range tight ends that I absolutely love. He's currently in the RotoGrinders first optimal that I really, really like. So I love Theo Johnson here. I love Jackson Dart. I think you could even play some Tyrone Tracy here. Wan'Dale Robinson is one of my favorite wide receivers on the entire slate. He's a fantastic play on FanDuel. He's only 5,800 on FanDuel. He's a smash over there. So I'm going to put the Giants a tier above the Airbud tier. I'm going to put them in the Shane Falco tier.
All right, Bobby. Giants tier 2. Washington hanging out with Airbud right in the middle, tier 3.
I'm going to put them both in Shane Falco. Marcus Mariota, I think, is one of the better quarterback plays on the slate. Tim talked about at the beginning of the show, like Deebo being ruled in is actually better for a guy like McLaurin, who I like a good bit. I also like Deebo at 5.3. So either or for me there. Tracy, I have a lot of interest in Tracy. I think you can pair him with Dart. I think guys like Theo and Wan'Dale, a guy like Isaiah Hodgins, these are all like cheap receivers that you can pretty much get anyone you want with Dart, like any of the studs with this Giant stack. So you can even throw Slayton in there at 4.4. So for me, they're both going to be in the Shane Falco tier.
I'm going to agree with Bobby. Yeah, I do like this game. I feel like it can go the other way because of how cold it is, and both these teams kind of want to lose. They definitely want to lose. The players are going to try, but both these teams want to lose. because, the Giants currently positioned with the number 1 pick in the draft. They have the tiebreaker, I guess, on Vegas and Tennessee. Washington would just they're in a group of 5 other teams that have 3 wins: Cleveland, New Orleans, the Jets, and Arizona. So they probably don't want to win either. But all right, we did get a winner, by the way, for Superstar Sunday. We'll reveal that soon enough. But shout out to Falcons fan 07. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. TJ, I think, will be contacting you momentarily, and he'll do his best to juice you up. He's got to pass it along to producer Steve. If he's lurking, we can get you some premium this morning. If not, a little bit later in the day, I suppose. But congratulations to you. We'll continue playing it out. 2-2 score, by the way. Bobby has tied it up. Browns, Bears, 38.5 total. It's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold in Chicago. Chicago's a 8-point favorite here, Bobby. I don't think this game's terribly popular. There's 13. You could be a little bit choosy. The Browns, we've seen Sanders have some success. Judkins, it's basically his backfield today, especially if they're ahead. If they happen to be ahead, they're not expected to be. I know Fannin, one of the more popular tight ends as well. We are expecting Odunze most likely to play. It's not official, but he's currently expected to play. He didn't play last week. Bears, Browns, Bobby, what do you got?
Yeah, both of these teams are pretty uninteresting outside of the Bears defense and Harold Fannin. I think Harold Fannon's a strong tight end play. Bears defense for Shador probably works out a good bit of the times. 3,500 though for the Bears D. I do like the Judkins call, especially with no one else really there to compete for running back touches. But this game is going in the Bobby Gomes tier. It's not like from a stacking perspective. I'm not really trying to get to any of them.
Yeah, so Ford and Sampson are both out for Cleveland. The number 2 running back I'm seeing is Travion Williams for Cleveland. As far as base stuff, if the Browns are not chasing, Judkins will basically get everything. Bobby, Tim, both teams hanging out with Bobby Gomes. Do we let them play with Bobby Gomes, or shall we move him out of the tier 5?
I think they can stay there. Obviously, Harold Fannin is a fantastic play. Obviously, the Bears D is good as well. I will say that if you're looking to get off of some of that Tinsley chalk, I think Isaiah Bond in like a Millie Maker type setting is an interesting play. Just like put him in 1 out of 50 or something like that. Like just as like a lotto play. I think just Stone Min, I think he's somewhat interesting, but certainly nobody I'll be attacking in the stuff that I play. I think he's interesting. So I'm fine. This is gonna be a catch me up game.
Bills Patriots, one of the better games as far as just a watchability perspective. This should be a lot of fun for sure. 48.5 is the total. Bills are slight favorites on the road in New England. The disrespect to the Patriots. I don't know who you're stacking with Josh Allen with. I guess it's Kincaid if you're going to stack him with anybody, but good luck picking that right receiver. And Drake May kind of sort of the same deal. We like the run on the Bills, but it seems like a pretty distinct. It's a pretty clear split with Henderson and Stevenson. Revenge game, best game of the year for Steph Diggs. Is he still vengeful? Is he still holding on to some vengeance? Maybe it's a part 2. The sequel rarely as good as the original. Maybe we get a Godfather here. I don't know. Tim, Bills, Patriots, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean this game is obviously fantastic for real life stuff. It's kind of questionable in terms of DFS. You can always play a naked Josh Allen. I'm done pairing him. I think if you play him, you just play him naked. You can play James Cook, even though he's very, very pricey, but he's going to be low. He's going to be low owned, and he does have upside. I think Travion Henderson is super interesting for GPPs. He would be my lean amongst that Patriots backfield, but really it's such a 50-50 share. It's really tough. Steph Diggs, I think, is okay for GPPs. But the thing is, there's just so much talent here. There's a high game total. This game is really tough, I think, in terms of kind of assessing what to do. I'm not getting to any of it in 3-max stuff, single entry stuff, but there's just so much talent here. I think there are some playable pieces. I guess I'll put them both in Air Bud.
Both these teams expected to make the playoffs. Some jockeying. I guess there's a chance that the Bills can still catch the Patriots. They are 2 games behind in the division. Bobby, both teams hanging out with Air Bud right there in the middle. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Tim. I think from a tournament perspective, you have to get over on this game. Projections-wise, it isn't going to stand out, but obviously James Cook, Travion Henderson are probably 2 backs that with the loaded running back position are hard to get to, but in 150, I'd be trying to find a way to get to those guys. I think the 2 best pass catchers by far are on the New England side, and Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry. I don't mind pairing those guys with Drake May at all. Josh Allen's the one that's usually hard to stack. Like Shakir, Kincaid, the regular guys. A guy who goes overlooked on the New England side also, just jumping back to New England quick, is Booty, who's been phenomenal. So yeah, this is like a middling. They're not going to, neither of these teams are going to hit like a ton of stuff based on just construction, but they're fine for tournament leverage, I would say. Someone is Banks is Bank King in chat says Tinsley isn't chalk at 15%. I mean, at 3K when you're starved for value, he's going to be chalky, especially if people are trying to get up to CMC, Chase, Puka. I can kind of guess. Yeah, he like 15%. He might come in over that.
I think he will.
Yeah, I still think 15% is like definitely in small field stuff. He's going to be.
Yes.
Oh, in small field stuff, he's going to be way higher than 15%.
That's my concern, because that's the stuff I focus on, and 25-30% Tinsley, unless we get some weird news, which it doesn't seem like we are. He's like the one place to save some salary that you're not, there's by no means comfortable, but like math wise. Bobby, question for you. You're a Patriots fan. Would you trade Drake May for Patrick Mahomes straight up?
No.
That's wild, isn't it? What if I asked that question a year ago? Would you have said the same? Look how fast you answer that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but just forgetting salary, forgetting everything.
Greatness for 20 years, you know what's coming. You know what I mean?
Drake May is going to play until he's 44 also.
I think that Drake May is very, very, very good.
I agree. I just think I think you're right too. It's a funny question, but
I'm not a Mahomes hater either.
No, he's just 10 years older, or 9 years older.
10 years older, like it just makes sense. Yeah, I would much rather keep Drake May.
Both teams. My only issue is I don't know how to stack this game. I might just play Allen by himself. I guess you can play May with, like you said, Henry. I guess you can play with Diggs, Booty, but distribution's kind of tricky.
Are you getting to any of the Patriots backfield, Bobby? Are you doing any of the Henderson, Stevenson?
Right now, I'm not getting into really any of New England or the Bills at all, but I'm going to bump them because they're just too low. Like, I don't understand what Sims is seeing that I'm not getting any of New England and the Bills. I'm getting like Stephon Diggs and Henry, but I'm not getting them in stacks, which doesn't make sense, right? May could obviously have a ceiling game here. A guy like Allen could have a ceiling game here. So they have to be in Air Bud.
Last game, as far as the 1 o'clock slates, there's 8 early. It's the Raiders and the Eagles. 38.5 is the total. Philadelphia, again, monster favorite, despite just completely giving a game away on Monday night to the Chargers, did everything it can possibly to lose. They did. Almost doubling up as far as team total. Philadelphia versus the Raiders, who are one of, if not the worst team in the league. Kenny Pickett gets the start here for the Raiders. Jack Besh, by the way, is one of the pivots thinking about. He's one of the guys that I'm considering as like a 3-2 nonsense player. I don't know. Or Trey Tucker is a little bit more expensive, but 13 team total for the Raiders, so temper your expectations. Bobby, Eagles, Raiders. No Lane Johnson again, which is kind of a bummer for Philly. I don't know if they need him, but I kind of want him if I have Barkley. What do you got?
Yeah, it was funny. Kenny Pickett was simming pretty well for me, and now he's completely out of my sims. That 13 team, I was never playing the 13 team total anyways.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Vegas in the Bobby Gomes tier. I think that's where they should go currently. I just don't really see. I don't think there's really any reason to stack Vegas at all. Jalen Hurts is definitely. I don't know what to do with Hurts. I don't think the Eagles know what to do with Hurts at this point. I like Saquon as a pivot off a guy like McCaffrey today. I'm more interested in the Eagles running game. I'm more interested in the Eagles defense. So the stack for me would be Saquon and Eagles D. And I would put the Eagles in. They're not going to make it very high. They're going to go in Uncle Rico. I think it's more a Saquon and Eagles D game. And from a passing perspective, if that stack's going to get them higher up the board, it's really not going to be there. I just don't know if Hurts can get the job done at this point. They should go to Tanner McKee, in my opinion.
Oh, come on. You're one of those guys.
What do you mean? How can you say that, though?
I know he's been good in preseason. There's rumblings. I've heard rumblings, but
there should be more rumblings.
Hurts has won the Super Bowl not that long ago. You have no idea what McKee is. I want
to see what McKee is. Give him a shot.
Okay.
You can bring Hurts in for the tush push of the goal line if you really want to.
That's why you keep him around for the tush push?
Yeah.
I mean, they're essentially a lock for the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. You're saying, let's change quarterbacks here in week 15?
I want to see what Tanner McKee can give me. As a guy who saw Drew Bledsoe get hit by Mo Lewis on the sideline.
He was knocked out. Yeah, he was unfunctionable. He couldn't play the game.
I know. But right now, in my opinion, Jalen Hurts is unfunctionable as a quarterback that can throw the football and get the ball to superstar receivers like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. A guy like Tanner McKee opens up the offense, I think, a little more.
That's they're screaming in Philly. They're spoiled in Philly.
They're right. Good. They're right.
He might be good.
Right. But Hurts isn't. I also think Sirianni is just they need to get Sirianni out of town.
He just won the Super Bowl, but
I was going to say, how do you get him out of town? He just won a Super Bowl.
But obviously, they have a lot of issues, and
the correlation to both of these problems is they have a new offensive coordinator who's terrible. That's the difference from the Eagles looking good a year ago, 2 years ago with the same head coach, same quarterback, is their new offensive coordinator is terrible.
No Lane Johnson, no Kelsey.
But if the quarterback and head coach were adequate, they would be able to mask that issue, and they just can't do that. So
Philadelphia is in Uncle Rico. The Raiders are in tier 5 with Bobby Gomes. Tim, do we agree, disagree?
I'm going to go Eagles and Airbud.
I knew he was going to bump the Eagles. It's
just because I like A.J. Brown today. So
it's kind of cheap.
He's just another addition to that stack. I agree. I'm not getting any Hurts today. That's fine. But I think you can play A.J. Brown. And I think Barkley, Philly D is like a core staple for me. I think I'm going to be playing that kind of everywhere. So I have to bring them up just one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will agree with Tim. We'll keep Philadelphia in tier 3. Tim takes a point. He's up 3-2. We'll drop a fourth clue. We got a winner already, but let's do it for fun. Sure, why not? Fourth clue for Superstar Sunday is wind. Ring, fast, punk, and wind. Shout out in the Discord channel. It was Falcons fan? Yeah, Falcons fan, 07. Got some RG Premium. We'll drop a fifth clue as well soon enough, just so you can play along there at home. Opening of the 4 o'clock games, 4:25, by the way. No 4:05 games. So it's 5 4:25 games. This is for
I'm definitely playing the afternoon slate. It's a nice afternoon.
It's a fun one. Yeah. I mean, you could you don't have to do it. If you could just backload your lineup and just hope nobody goes off, or just if you like one player in the 1 o'clock slate, just play them, and if they do great, you're well positioned, because there's some fun games here for sure. Packers, Denver, not the most fun. 42.5. Denver is a 2-point home dog here versus Green Bay. Jacobs, we think is going to play. Actives and actives, of course, here will come out around 3 o'clock on the East Coast. Manuel Wilson, he had the fish, so he's a game time decision. The backup there for Jacobs. We're expecting Jacobs to play, though. Denver's a slight home dog. I think it's actually pretty good weather in Denver. I don't think it was.
It's supposed to be really nice there, I think.
60s. I'm seeing it's on the injury report. It's injury report on Ross weather report. I don't think they even make an appearance. No. So Tim, Denver, Green Bay. I think this game's going to be kind of ignored. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't love this game. I think you can get to some RJ Harvey on one side. I think you can play some Evan Ingram as well at like next to no ownership. Cortland Sutton, I guess, is okay for large field stuff. They're at home, so I'm going to put Denver in the Uncle Rico tier. Green Bay, kind of the same thing for me. Like, I think there are pieces like Jaden Reed that you can play in GPPs. Christian Watson is always like a boomer bust option that you can get to in large field stuff. This might not be, I mean, it is a horrible matchup on paper for Jordan Love, but I think his price kind of keeps him in play. And he's pretty efficient. So I think he's okay. But again, it's a really bad spot. So I think both these teams for me are going to go in the Uncle Rico tier.
Bobby?
Yeah, Tim's analysis was perfect. Like, I'd pretty much reiterate all the same stuff. RJ Harvey, I think, is very interesting at 6K. As a one-off, Sutton, I think, is fine as a one-off. These ancillary guys, really not that interested in. I think Jaden Reed at 4,500 is the one that kind of stands out for me on the Packers side. Marvin Mims is 3.6 for Denver. That's another one that I'd throw in there in large field stuff. But really, they both go in Uncle Rico.
Yeah, Peter in chat says Bryant out, play Mims, and then like somebody says, "Hey, what about Franklin over Mims?" And again, I'll stop. I'm sorry, but Troy Franklin's got 4 fantasy points and 4 fantasy points his last 2 weeks. He was 5.3, 5.5, and he's still 5.2. Because why would you lower the guy's price after stinking for multiple weeks? Okay. The reason why you play Mims over Franklin is just because of salary. But like if salary isn't a thing, I guess it's Franklin. But all right, I will get off my soapbox. 4 more games to go. Bobby, I think you're still down 3-2. It's still anybody's game. You're down 3-2. It's not the Colts game today. I don't think it is, at least. 13.75 team total. Seattle with a 28 team total. They're doubling them up. We talk about Phillip Rivers as quarterbacking the Colts today. Seattle's going to put every dude in the box, I imagine. Well, you tell me. This is Bobby, right? Bobby, correct?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep, this is me.
I don't know how if you want to be different. I mean, you could pivot if things don't go well in the 1 o'clock set, but I think there's better stuff to pivot to Tennessee. I don't know, anything but the Colts. But you guys, nobody's going to play Jonathan Taylor. Rightfully so, I think. I guess he can break a long one, sure. Theoretically, the Colts probably want to give him the ball 30 times and just that's it. And that's their offense. And then there's our old friend Kenny Walker, third, and Zach Charbonnet stealing all his touchdowns. JSN is a fabulous option, but what if Darnold only drops back to pass like 22 times today? Now, that might mean 10 targets because that's what it is basically this year with JSN. He gets every target. We talk about Barner as well as a cheap tight end. I just don't know how much Seattle gets pushed to like JSN, which is why I have Chase and Puka ahead of him. But certainly I'm not going to besmirch. How about yourself, Bobby? Seahawks, Colts, what do you got?
Yeah, Seahawks are going to go in the Airbud here for me. It's mainly the correlation between the Seahawks D and Kenny Walker or Charbonnet for that matter. Like, I don't know which one it's going to be. I would imagine Charbonnet gets in the box, probably hurts Kenny Walker. So I'll probably be under on Kenny Walker relative to the field. Darnold, like you said, how many pass attempts is he going to have? And if he is throwing the ball, though, it's likely going to JSN. I do like JSN. I like being slightly over the field on JSN just because of the volume that he does see. AJ Barner, once again, standing out for me because he gets goal line carries occasionally, but he stinks. Cooper Kupp at 4-1.
Deep dive?
Yeah,
it's deep dive. It's correct, though. It's a correct deep dive.
It's a correct deep dive for sure. Cooper Kupp at 4-1, I think, is more in play than
Cooper Kupp.
I think I'm going to play some Cooper Kupp because if I'm going to play some Darnold stacks, like, yeah, you could just play JSN, but you're going to get shifted to Barner, and I don't know, maybe Kupp gets in the end zone and large field stuff. So I don't hate Cooper Kupp. I don't love him, but he's going to be in my player pool. I'm not getting rid of him. I will say Tyler Warren is not simming well, and he's a guy like I could see Rivers kind of leaning on with checkdowns if they're chasing. Obviously, Antonio Gates was a Chargers receiver for a very, very long time, and I don't know, just going to – I know we're going back 10 years.
I was going to say, how are we talking about Antonio Gates on the show?
Well, he's doing the tight end blanket thing, I think is what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm doing the tight end blanket thing.
I mean, we're not saying Tyler Warren is Gates just yet, I imagine. I get the point you're making. But, yeah, I mean, yeah. I just
think I'm like killed in the chat today for like my takes, it seems like.
Which take?
I don't know, BTTH pod. Most people I say stink, don't. I don't know.
Oh, he's saying Bonner doesn't stink is what he's saying, basically.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Cooper Kupp, I did the deep dive in him. He's old. He's old. And he stinks. And he has got no ceiling. But besides that, he is cheap. So we have Seattle in the middle with Air Bud. Did you put the Colts anywhere? Or are we just assuming we know where the Colts go?
I would like to say this. Bobby Fye came to my defense, which I like the Bobby sticking together. And Bobby Fye is a very good DFS player. So yeah. I'm gonna go with Bobby Fye's take.
Fellow $1 million winner, Bobby Fye. You guys in the club? You guys have your own Discord?
No. But I've always respected Bobby's play. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean that in theory, is it Warren wasn't doing anything the last month or so with Jones. Like it feels like he's kind of sputtered off a little bit. We haven't seen him do anything for a while, but sure. I think it's going to be a mess for the Colts, but I guess he's the best passing option. If you're going to pick one, it would be Warren, I think. Did you put the Colts anywhere, Bobby?
I'm going to put the Colts in Bobby Gomes, but
yeah. I figured
Warren is the one that I do have interest in.
Seattle hanging out with Air Bud. Colts tier 5 with Bobby. Tim, what do you got?
I don't have anything to change. The Colts are definitely in the Bobby Gomes tier. If anything, I was going to put the Seahawks up 1, but I think I'm going to leave them. I'm personally not getting to any in 3 max stuff, so I'm just going to leave them there. If I were going to, it would probably be JSN. I'm not going to be playing Walker just because I think there are better plays at running back, but they're obviously in a fantastic spot. The Colts are not going to be able to move the ball here. The Seahawks D is a smash play. It's really between the Seahawks and Eagles for me in terms of defense. Right now I'm leaning Eagles, but who really knows between those two?
I'm going to play some Walker just because I hate myself. I'm just like,
I know I am too. And
I'm going to play some Charbonnet too. Like I'm going to play one of the, they're a 28-point team total, 14-point home favorite against Grandpa Rivers. It just seems like one of these running backs has to get there. I think. We'll see.
And when both of them finish with 9 points and Greg Holani punches in a touchdown, he's saying the same thing as you do every week.
AJ Barner on the tush push nonsense. Yeah. Oh boy. It's gonna happen. Sure. Okay. Tim, still with a 3-2 commanding lead, 3 games to go. Tira, our fifth clue, by the way, for Superstar Sunday, for those that are still playing along, is belt. Ring, fast, punk, wind, belt. Carolina Saints, 40.5 total. Saints are a 1.5 point dog here at home versus the Carolina Panthers, who, you know what? Carolina Panthers, playoff bounds. How about that? What is their current, let's see, 64% chance? I thought it was higher than that. 64% chance to make the playoffs. I feel like they benefited from Tampa losing. That's why I thought it would be higher. Maybe it doesn't factor it in. I don't know. That's according to playoffstatus.com. Tim, where do you have the Panthers and the Saints? Neal's an interesting cheap running back. Olave. Juwan. You need another cheap tight end there. You got one. Juwan Johnson. If you like it, if you want it, it's right there.
That's what the Blitz likes is Juwan Johnson. I think there's too much. I think there are better plays at tight end, but I think he's okay. I think Tyler Shuck is okay. Devin Neal is kind of like the pivot off of Woody Marks. I don't love it, but I think he's okay to get to some in large field stuff. This game, though, is such a drag, in my opinion. Only a 40.5 team total. Carolina, it's really just Tet. I think you could sprinkle in some Rico, maybe in some Chuba at that price. But really, I don't like this game much at all. I think I'm going to put New Orleans and Uncle Rico in Carolina. I think I'm going to put both in Uncle Rico. Yeah, I'm going to put both in Uncle Rico.
Bobby?
Yeah, I'm going to put both in Uncle Rico as well. I think Devin Neal is the pivot that people are going to try to make off Marks. I would rather just play Marks and not really care about a pivot, but Devin Neal's definitely going to be in my pool. I think Ted is fine. Juwan Johnson's the best tight end play in this game. He's going to project pretty well. He's at 3.7. I'm with Tim. Like, this game environment just isn't the greatest, so I'm not in love with this game.
2 more games to go, about 10, 15 minutes until we get the next group coming in. GPP Final Takes, Erik Beimfohr, Jordan Vanek. TJ will be hosting Crunch Time with Kyle Murray and Will, the Chief, taking you guys all the way up to 1 o'clock on the East Coast.
Just Kyle.
Oh, did we get a late scratch?
Yeah, Chief's not feeling well.
All right. Hopefully he feels better. All right. Next game up, it's Detroit. Oh, this is a fun one. Detroit and the Rams. Tim, right? No, this is Bobby, correct? Bobby? I think Bobby's starting this off.
Yeah,
Bobby.
It's me.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. If you want to
you can do the spiel about the game.
I was just going to say it's a 54.5 total, biggest total on the board. Rams, biggest team total on the board. Over 30 in a dome. There's a lot of appealing pieces. Tricky thing is a lot of them are expensive. You want to get some Gibbs. You want to get some Puka. Devontae Adams was dealing with was it a hamstring? But all he does is score touchdowns. I don't really like playing quarterbacks that can't scoot, but if you can throw 4 touchdowns, that works too. And Stafford could do that. If you want to buy into the fact that they're going to try to get him as many passing touchdowns as possible to, bump up his chances to win MVP and take it from Drake May, it wouldn't surprise me either. How do you feel about the Lions and the Rams, Bobby?
Yeah, the Rams are going in Willie Beeman. They're my favorite stack on the slate. Stafford to Puka. You can throw in Devontae Adams, Colby Parkinson. I think he's definitely a viable as well. Just a really strong stack overall. You need a double Stafford, so it's going to be expensive. Why a guy like Tinsley may be chalky, maybe chalkier than 15%. And then the run backs are there. You have Gibbs, you have Amon-Ra, you have Jameson Williams. It's in a dome. Like a lot of these games, you're dealing with cold weather, so I'm all over the Rams. And then I'm not stacking Detroit, but I think a lot of their ancillary pieces are strong, whether that be Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Gibbs. I think it's the same every week pretty much, but in terms of stacking off, I'm not really there. So I'm going to put Detroit and Uncle Rico.
Wow.
That was unexpected.
I just don't really think I'm getting too much. I know the play is to play Detroit when they're in a situation like this, but I don't know. I would rather just load up on the Rams and have them as run backs. They're
a desperate team that has to win out. Dogs here. You have to assume they're going to be aggressive. You have to assume, 4th and 5 on the 40 or whatever. Anything that's close, they're going for it, I imagine, because that's probably what you have to do here. Their defense is pretty inept too at this point. Speed up too hard. Tim, we got the Rams and Willie Beeman and the Lions with Uncle Rico. What say you?
Rams are definitely Willie Beeman. They're absolutely a top tier team today. I'm going to put Detroit. They definitely have to go higher, in my opinion. I'm going to put them in Shane Falco just because I think Gibbs and Amon-Ra are so strong that I really like Jameson Williams today too. I think you can get to some Goff as well if you're building out, in a 20 max or, building out 10 or more teams. I think you can play some Goff here. I'm really, really high on this game. I know the Rams defense is good, but I really do love this game in a dome with that 55 implied team total.
I'm probably not going to get to Goff, but I'm definitely going to get to some Gibbs and some Amon-Ra. And I think the best, dollar for dollar is probably JMO. So I'm going to agree with Tim.
But this is a stacking show. We're talking stacking. You can't bend the rules here.
Isn't Gibbs and one of Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams kind of sort of a stack? like you play Stafford with Puka, and you run it back.
The run back I'm just talking about the individual team stack.
It's like, does a quarterback have to be on a team in order to call it a stack? I'm asking you a serious question.
We know that the defense and the running back is a correlation, so no. But I don't know. I think it was a week ago. This worked against me, and now it's working against me here.
No, the rule is it has to be more than one player. So if you're playing Gibbs and one of the receivers, it counts as a stack.
That's a stack. I think it's a different kind of stack, but I think it's still a stack. But several people in chat were talking about Tutu Atwell. Again, trying to find a 3K receiver that can just do something that's alive. Tutu Atwell's available to play. He has not played since week 7, I believe. Bobby, is he going to get a full allotment? He's theoretically, historically, one of those guys just needs one big play, right? Is he somebody that's in our pool? He's 3-3 on DK. It's the reason why I ask.
I'm not getting any Tutu.
Yeah,
it's more they're condensed. Bless me. We just in terms of just how condensed this offense is, I'm just sticking to the main 3 guys in Puka, Devontae, and Parkinson.
Yeah, you got anything, Tim? As far as Tutu, I guess not. I assume not. Yeah.
It'd be this tiniest sprinkle in a milli setting, but that's really it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to save some salary, and if you haven't figured that out in this show. All right, last game of the slate.
It's Kobe Parkinson in that game for salary relief. I mean, he's a really fantastic tight end play today.
So you if you're playing Stafford, you want one of Puka and Adams with Parkinson. You think is the best way to do that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Obviously, you'd like Stafford, Puka, and Adams. It's just really restricting as far as salary. And I mean a
Stafford triple. I don't know if I can do a Stafford triple.
I bet TJ would. TJ loves his triples. He's probably going to be talking about triples later on in the show. But
I have a team with Stafford, Puka, Adams, Parkinson, Tesla, and Gibbs.
Yeah, that should be a fun game. Tennessee, San Fran is the last game. 44.5 is the total. San Francisco. And again, we have 4 or 5 of these games where it's a monster favorite at home. San Fran, 12.5 point favorite versus the Titans. They're getting healthier. Jennings looks pretty good. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends, dollar for dollar on this slate. I want to play Pearsall, but he's too expensive. And then there's CMC. Certainly looks spectacular. Monster home favorite. Well positioned for some success. Tennessee more vulnerable via the pass for what it's worth. Only a 16-team total. I guess DK is somebody you can consider playing. I saw in the chat talking about Ayamanor. But again, that's just sort of like, salary cheapies that you're just, pray and spray, right? Okay. It's Bobby's board. Bobby's going. No, it's Tim. Tim's board. Tim, you're up 4-2. Just for the record, you're up 4. Nobody used the challenge, by the way. Terrible use of challenges today. You guys.
I didn't need to.
Okay, I'm saying
you don't need it when Dean's cheating for you. So
I was being kind without naming names, but like Bobby, the challenge was right there, Bobby, and you didn't use it at all. And now
Bobby's complaining about being rigged, but he forgets that he actually has tools to
maybe the rules.
This. Yeah.
Tim,
TJ would have voted against me anyways with Detroit. So
he's in on the rigging too. It's all rigged against Bobby.
No. He just made his case. He said that.
Well, there's a different game. There's other games you lost points on.
Bobby's really sad today. He didn't even get his coffee, let alone double coffee like he had last week.
I'm so pissed about the coffee.
You said it was coming. What happened?
This is a tough day.
He rates it, and Jenna didn't bring it upstairs. I don't know.
What if it's just like sitting in the counter right now?
It's ice too. Like,
oh man, now it's all watered down.
Oh my God,
this is brutal.
You got to let us know if it's just like sitting there the whole time at the front door or whatever.
Yeah.
Tim, close us out. Tennessee, San Francisco.
Yeah, Tennessee. I think they're pretty easy bottom tier. Bobby Gomes tier. Despite the fact that Tony Pollard looked fantastic last week, I just can't get any to him. I'm not going to be playing any Cam Ward. DK and Ayamanor, I guess, are decent plays in milli settings, but I mean, that's really tough for me. I'm not going to be getting there. So I think Tennessee's pretty clearly bottom tier. San Fran's tough. It's either going to be Shane Falco or Willie Beeman. I think I'm going to put him in Willie Beeman. There's just so many different. I think you can play Brock Purdy today pretty easily. I think it's just so easy to stack this team. I think it's such a fantastic spot. I really do like Juwan Jennings. I love George Kittle today. So I think you could play Purdy doubles and fade CMC. I think that's one way to like play like a contrarian style large field GPP lineup. So I think San Fran is top tier today.
Bobby?
I'm just going to concede the win to Tim.
There's no argument you can make for Tennessee to get out of this.
There's no argument I can make for Tennessee. Alec Aminor is someone you can consider as a value receiver.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. San Fran, I would probably come under in as a stack. I'll bump San Fran down to Shane Falco, but it's my only out. Like, I know it's not the correct play.
You're just trying to beat the spread right now.
I'm just trying to beat the spread, yeah. Like, you should be playing Purdy, Kittle, Jennings on your teams. I'm coming in under the field on them, so I guess I'll just put San Fran and Shane Falco. Christian McCaffrey, great play. It's going to be tough with McCaffrey to get just because of the lack of value to get up to 9K is going to be difficult. So you're pretty much picking one side of that game. So, yeah, San Fran to Shane Falco, and I'll lose this point as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give the point to Tim. I do like San Fran a good bit. So, yeah. Now, Tim, alt lines. Tim is a winner, pays off the alt line as well. -2.5 is a winner. That was plus 150. So shout out to those that back Tim. Let's go ahead and recap the board. For those that are joining us late, we power ranked players, fictitious mostly, athletes, fictitious mostly, that the Colts considered calling or should have considered calling to replace their quarterback before calling Phillip Rivers. Willie Beeman, tier number 1, of course, any given Sunday. That's Baltimore, Houston, the Rams, San Fran, Shane Falco, right there in the name. The replacements, Cincinnati, the Giants, Washington, the Lions. Tier 3, Air Bud, multi-sport athlete, can absolutely run the Wildcat if you need it. You got the Jaguars, the Bills, New England, Philadelphia, Seattle, Uncle Rico, he's got a heck of an arm, throws it over the mountains. Not sure how accurate he is. Kansas City, Denver, Green Bay, the Saints, Carolina. In Tier 5, Bobby Gomes of the People Show. This show right here, he can roll out of bed and give you a 4.140. We're not sure about that arm.
I never said 4.1.
4.2? What did you say?
4.68. I can run a 4.68. Easily beat that.
Very precise. 4.68. That's the betting line. 4.68. Chargers, Jets, Arizona, Cleveland.
Also a better quarterback than anyone on this list, by the way.
Dude, have you not seen Willie Beeman?
Dude, it's a movie.
I would just take Jamie Foxx. I'll take Jamie Foxx.
One day you're gonna see. One of my kids will be pro in something, and Dean will go, "Oh, Bobby might have the good genetics."
We'll put the kid in the 3 tier.
All right.
Tennessee, Colts, Raiders, Chicago, Cleveland. Oh, today's Superstar Sunday. The 5 clues were as follows: ring, fast, punk, wind, belt. Ring, you would think, maybe, like in reference to being a champion, not necessarily. This person fought in a ring. They fought in a ring. Fast is in reference to a movie series they're involved in. One of Chop's favorites, Bobby. Fast and the Furious.
The worst movies of all time. I love just saying that in every shit.
I know you're not a fan of that series. Punk was in reference to punk rock. Wind, this person played middle linebacker for the Miami Hurricanes, and they were a champion. Ring, the reason why Ring, they were a champion for the 2000, I think it's 2001. It was 1991. 1991. Hurricanes, Wind, 5 belt. They had some belts. Superstar. We wanted to give an homage. It was too obvious due to John Cena. People are very angry, by the way. Spoiler, he lost. People are very angry about this. John Cena lost last night. I don't know if you missed that. But it's The Rock. Dwayne Johnson. He's a superstar. He played football as well. He was a champion. That was today's Superstar Sunday. Let's go. Oh, we got to give the people who's breaking the slate, Bobby. If you want to do a stack, if you want to do one individual person, however you want to answer that question, who is breaking the slate for you?
Yeah, I'm on the Rams stack. I like the Stafford, Parkinson. Puka's the easy one. I'm going to go with Stafford, Parkinson, Adams.
Tim? Wandale, Terry McLaurin.
Ooh, is that a skinny or is that with one of the quarterbacks?
It's probably going to be with one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah. You got to lean, Dart, Mariota?
Dart. But it's like I'm not fully decided yet.
All right, let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue. Coming up next, it is the GPP Final Takes show. We got Erik. We got Jordan. Let's do it right now. Two-man booth. I believe Neil is in New Orleans. So, Erik, you got a usage bump today. Jordan as well. I know we had a late swap as far as jerseys. Jordan, what did we go? You had a Chase jersey, and now you went to.
I had to put on the Josh Allen jersey for Bobby after last week, dude. This guy just made me feel like an idiot and then left. He didn't even, just had to tell me that Brady did great things against my team a long time ago, and it's okay. His team hasn't beaten anybody real this year, so it's fine. This week.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't beaten anyone real. You're right. I'm not saying that. That's correct.
So Josh Allen jersey felt right for this week after weirdly my Carolina Panthers are out here beating the Rams, Packers, losing to the Saints. We're good. We're a great team out here.
Yeah, and I didn't realize I said it earlier. They have to play Tampa twice, so I guess that's how the division might get settled. They got to chop that basically, right?
No, if we win this week and next week, we are the 4 seed. Like we're guaranteed the division. Okay. Because the Saints, the Buccaneers already have 7 losses. So if we beat them once and we beat the Saints today, it's over.
Yeah. You just can't let Tampa beat you twice, essentially.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah.
Erik, how are things?
I thought when Jordan was going for the wardrobe change, he was going to come out like Mac Hollins. Did you see this morning?
No. I'm looking for a 3K player, so any narrative I'll buy into. What is the narrative?
Oh well, we got the narrative for. First of all, it's a revenge game for Mac Hollins.
He doesn't seem like a vengeful guy. He seems very chill.
I'm not sure he knows who he played for in the past, if we're being honest. But
I believe
he showed up. It is quite cold, right, in a lot of places, but certainly in a Buffalo New England game in December, and he showed up. He always shows up barefoot, right? He's this crazy barefooted guy, but also no shirt today. He is just wearing some light joggers, walking through the parking lot, just totally stone faced. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. He's a madman.
I just saw it. Yeah. Do we like this? This is a plus.
It can't be a minus, can it?
His projection goes from like 3 fantasy points to 4 fantasy points. Like I don't know what his projection is, but okay.
I want to say something. Just I know it's best ball week. I'm not the biggest best ball content guy, and I think Erik does the best job in terms of like best ball content in the industry. He's the only one I really listen to, I'd say.
Well, I appreciate that.
Erik does a fantastic job with best ball.
And Rob too. Shout out Rob as well.
And Rob, yeah.
Rob, yeah. I tuned in to just hear the Kyle Pitts rant.
We had a nice hour and a half candlelit vigil for your non-Kyle Pitts teams on Friday morning. The people were worked up. Yeah.
I had a lot of Kyle Pitts, sadly, in best ball. I mean, greatly, but it didn't all of those advance because a lot of it was paired with Penix. But in the super flex one, I have a lot of Kirk Cousins. I don't know how, but it just happened.
Erik, how dead am I if I don't have Pitts on the team? Like, are we dead?
I'll direct you to
an
hour and a half show that I did on. You got just about enough time to go consume. No, every pod is a little bit different. So what I did figure out is he's on somewhere between 60 to 70% of like pods is like the general math. But sometimes, right, it's probably a little bit lower because some pods, like I have some with like 4 Kyle Pitts teams, and like I don't have them, and so. It's over, right? It's over in those. But there's some pods where he's not. There's no Kyle Pitts teams, and some where like there's one or something like that. And like Jordan said, a lot of it's like with Michael Penix and with like Darnell Mooney or Drake London or whatever. What you really need to avoid is, the random Kirk Cousins team, or like Bijan Kyle Pitts is like, good Lord, you're starting in a massive hole.
I do have that in one of my teams, which is weird. It's sick, but it feels like when you have something like that happen for you, you almost feel gross about it. Like you're like, that's not fair.
KJ Osborne did it a few years. Like it's always some random. Mari Cooper did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, when the 200 yard with Flacco,
and then sat out the championship week.
All the research you did, Erik, all the shows you did, all the different ways you broke down. Oh, what are the matchups for this week? And just like playing Kyle Pitts. You play Kyle Pitts, you win. You don't play
against Tampa. Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts against Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is there's your best ball content for next year. If they play in the playoffs again, just draft Kyle Pitts.
That was Tim. That was Bobby. Erik, take it over.
Shout out, of course, to the People Show, and of course, thanks to Bobby for the kind words. We're not here to talk about best ball today, though. Good luck to your best ball teams, your season long teams. If you made the playoffs, right, your FFPC, whatever. It's a fun week, but it's also a fun week for DFS. If you've not joined us before on this particular show, normally a 3-man booth, but today, Jordan and I are going to, as Dean said, get a little usage bump. We're going to be the Jake LaRavia, Austin Reeves duo. Jordan will be Austin Reeves and I will be Jake LaRavia when Luka Doncic and LeBron James are out. But what we're going to try to do, right? We got a lot to cover. There's no buys anymore, right? And not yet Saturday games and all that kind of stuff. So we got a bigger slate. What we're going to try to do is go not necessarily by game or position by position. We're going to try to hit all the most notable things. We may not hit absolutely everything. So if you do have a question, please drop it into the chat. We're here. We got an hour and 15 minutes or so to fill. We'll answer as many of your questions as we possibly can. I will keep tabs on the YouTube chat. We'll bounce in and out of games, game theory, strategy, positions, and your questions all throughout the course of the next hour or so. And then crunch time will come in and they will lead you all the way up until lock. So if we don't hit anything that you would like to hear discussed, broken down, or just a simple question, right, 2v2s, what have you, crunch time's got you in the final hour or so before lock. What we always do, Jordan, is start off with like what's the first thing that people need to know? Not everything that they need to know, but what's the one thing you open up this slate and you're like, where do I start, right? What game do I look at? What position do I look at? What chalk player or whatever? With so many games and like kind of chaotic weather, and it's a little bit of a peculiar slate, some like rematches, right? That we've even recently seen some of those games. How are you? What's the thing that jumps out to you today?
The first thing that I did when I opened up the slate was like, you can X out all the gross teams. Like you don't even have to think about them. There's so many teams on this slate. I wouldn't worry about ownership at all. For me, like I don't care about this because as long as it fits my build and like I'm seeing one of the players not be projected to be too popular, I'm fine with it. This is just a slate where the Colts, like I don't care about Philip Rivers. I'm Xing it out. Mm-hmm. I'm moving on. Like I don't if it burns me, it burns me. But this slate, it's definitely about just focusing in on the Rams, Detroit. That's the starter with how many points are expected in that game. And then you look at like all the high implied total teams. So the Jaguars, the Ravens, Bengals, then you have Houston out there, the Bills, on top of 49ers and Seahawks. Like you and I kind of have the same guys tagged in the expert picks, which is fun. And I was looking at weather in MetLife and I was a little afraid of it. Still going to play it, but it makes me more inclined to play like a Brock Purdy double. Like I just watched Shedeur Sanders throw for 80 against them. And I know they took him out on the 2-point conversion, but there's so many ways you can play this slate. So I'm never going to say anybody's wrong for playing a Matt Stafford stack or anything like that. It's just about what's your flavor is the main thing. And hey, I don't care about ownership this week. There's so many guys.
What I also put, what you just hit on was like a question in the expert survey. Of course, you and I and Neil and a bunch of other people, right, answered the expert survey every week here at RotoGrinders. And the question this week was, we have a bunch of static questions and then a rotating question that's kind of based on that, the texture of that slate. And this week it was, there's a lot more games, right? No bye weeks, all that kind of stuff. How does that how are you adjusting your strategy for that? And what you hit on, I think, is perfect. I'm not particularly worried about ownership. Even there will be 13 game slates with like chalk that we very much do have to worry about, right? Yeah. But I don't think that's the case today. We can discuss Woody Marks and Christian McCaffrey and stuff, but and Puka, right? But I don't feel that those guys, like ownership, I always call it like, is ownership going to run away from you type of a situation? Like, do you flip over the cards and Woody Marks is 65% owned or something like that? Like, right? Like, I mean, in a 50-50 or something, sure. But I mean, in like a large field tournament or whatever. And I don't feel that today. But what I do feel happens on these kind of slates, like from a macro perspective, is the high owned stuff is like maybe a little bit under owned. It's almost like a barbell, if you will, where the high owned stuff is like fine to play. Like you said, like, okay, whatever. Puka's 27%. Who cares? He should be, right? Like he probably should be higher. So it's fine. If anything, the ownership maybe comes down a little bit on the top guys, but then it like rises on this like kind of gross middle, if you will. There's a bunch of like mid-tier plays that are a little bit closer to the chalk from an right, like a guy who on some other weeks would be 20% less owned than Puka Nacua is now only like 12% less owned than Puka Nacua in this spot. But then there's all this stuff at the bottom. There's all this stuff at the bottom that's like still 1, 2, 3, 5% owned. And it's always 1, 2, 3, 5% owned. So you kind of have this barbell where it's like the best plays are still the best plays, but maybe they're not as owned as usual. And then the bottom barrel is still really low owned, but it's just as good as this middle. So like, I'm a little more cognizant of like, am I going to play that dude at like 17% or this other guy at 5 when they're a lot closer than like the gap from Puka to whatever, right? That some other middle tier guy. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. You did mention the weather. I want to hit on that as well before we start to get into kind of some position plays. I was reading it. Roth did an awesome job as always. You can just Google NFL weather. It's the top thing that shows up. Of course, it's on RotoGrinders.com in the menu as well. But he hit on spoiler, unless you live somewhere where it's beautiful all year round. It's quite cold in a lot of places that we're playing football today. It is 5 degrees outside my house tonight. Today. It's terrible. So that's somewhat impacting a lot of this stuff. But what you will see if you go through that weather report, I'm going to summarize and not read all this. You should go read it because Roth put a lot of work in. It's really, really good, especially this week. Every week, but especially this week. He basically has like every game as yellow. That is like the cold stuff. But I think that's the important trend. The one that you mentioned is probably both of our favorite game or up there, right? At least from a tournament perspective. Washington at the Giants is yellow-orange. Everywhere else is basically yellow because it's outrageously cold with like maybe a little bit of wind. And that can impact like passing game and, you know, how our team's being as aggressive and all that kind of stuff. But in New York, it is, you know, he says the most interesting. It's snowing. And it has been snowing, and I don't know if it's still snowing, if we got boots on the ground, but it's going to be a little bit windier there is the key. A lot of these places, and Roth did a really good job to break this down as well, have heated fields, meaning the snow and like, honestly, the temps are not as big of a deal. Go ahead, TJ.
He corrected himself on Twitter, and MetLife actually does have one.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. So the only reason... No, it's fine. It's fine. The only reason to be like concerned about that game specifically is a little bit of wind. There's going to be gusts up to like 25. But that's the thing when we talk about like the cold and the snow and all that. A lot of these places now even have right. It's not that cold on the field, and the snow is like a non-issue because it melts with the heated field. So I just wanted to cover that. Somebody might ask about the weather and all that kind of stuff. I'm personally there's not a game where I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the weather. I don't know about you if it's impacting you.
It definitely. So my thing, like you say, like, you know, the idea of like a guy of 17 and 5%. So for me in this particular slate, like I love Marcus Mariota. Found a great stat on him where when teams blitz him, he's averaging like 8.5 yards per attempt or like 8.1 or something. If you watch the Giants Patriots game, the Giants blitzed at a 34% clip, and that was the first game of this new defensive coordinator. So now with a bye week, I think they're just going to continue to blitz because why not? Like, they're not really exactly playing let's do or die type thing. So I think he's going to be blitzing a lot here, and you know, way Mariota's been good against the blitz is pretty impressive considering he did it against the Broncos. That was like the main thing with me. If you stayed up to watch that one, he almost let it come back against them, and they just couldn't get the 2. But outside of that, like it makes me think. I love Purdy. Like I really love Purdy doubles this week with McCaffrey just having that, you know, weak ailment that he's probably going to be fine in playing. But I just look at Purdy is coming in under 7%. He obviously projects better, but he's a little bit more pricey. And then his pass catchers are outside of Juwan Jennings, Juwan Jennings and Kittle are great, but like I'll gladly take Ricky Pearsall and Kittle and play that and just get that as the double instead of trying to go to Mariota and McLaurin, just because there is that little bit uncertainty with it. Because I'd really like Mariota this week, but Brock Purdy is a standout guy, and Ricky Pearsall mirrors the way Jerry Jeudy's used. And I watched Jerry Jeudy look great against the Titans with the big play. Like, I could imagine this is a game where if you're Kyle Shanahan, you're like, all right, we're going to give you a half Purdy. You need to figure this out early so that we can continue throwing the ball later in the season. Because the way you looked against the Panthers and the way we just had to take the ball out of your hands, like, we don't want to do that again.
I like that. It reminds me of, like you've mentioned, the Rams sometimes, like at the goal line, like it kind of segues into a question in the chat. Like, teams will work on things a little bit, like in certain spots. I also think to the Christian McCaffrey point, why I'm ready for him to bury me yet again for the whatever fifth or sixth time this season is because just from a logical perspective, what you said makes sense, but also he had an illness during the week and then he popped up with a back issue over the weekend, which is like an older running back who's had 1 million touches this year. And I know they're going to keep trying to win, but things have shaken out a little bit better for them in terms of like the urgency to win. They still need and want to win every single game. But against the Tennessee Titans, like, I do feel like we don't have to do 30 touch Christian McCaffrey, right? Like, you can do 22 touch Christian McCaffrey and they're going to win by the same amount as they would win by anyway. Brian Robinson can get a few more. And like you said, we can get Purdy, get him comfortable a little bit. Pearsall has like barely touched the ball in a long time. Be a good time to squeaky wheel him. There was a quote also from Kyle Shanahan this week talking about how like Pearsall is playing really well. Like, I promise you, like a trust me, right type situation. But like, sometimes the ball doesn't come to you. Sometimes things aren't working, but he's playing really well. It could be a situation like that as well. So in terms of like the chalky Christian McCaffrey, I'll be light on that to start from a player perspective. But it's not because he's not awesome. It's not because he's not going to have a good game. It's because I like some other more expensive guys and just some of the stuff we talked about there. Somebody did ask in the chat, like I was talking about winning, losing, motivation and all that kind of stuff. Asked to discuss teams that are not really caring about winning. What I will say right now, we're not yet to the point where these teams are like truly going to like shut it down. And when teams try to not win, if you will, in the NFL and really most of the sports, it's like they shut players down. And so if that's not happening, right? If Jackson Dart is out there, if Terry McLaurin is out there, if all these guys are out there, the teams are going to try to win. These coaches are coaching for their careers, right? Like, especially on the Giants side, they've already fired a bunch of guys. Those guys are trying, they're not going to be in New York next year. So they need to find another job. So they're coaching for that job. They're going to coach to win. Does like a rookie come in and steal a few more snaps? Maybe. Possible. Sure. Right. But I'm not worried about it in any of these games. Like, the teams that are not wanting to win are going to lose because they're bad, not because they're like trying to actively, right? Like the Jets and the Titans and stuff like that. They're going to keep playing.
The Dolphins in 2019 traded their whole team, like with Brian Flores as the head coach. They actively tried to tank, and Brian Flores won 5 games. Like, coaches don't, like, if you're in the NFL, like, you can't play with any sort of mindset that like we're not trying to win, because that's how you get hurt. That's how you get fired. And like, the idea that anybody is playing to lose is crazy. Like, obviously, when it's week 18 and the Chiefs are resting Patrick Mahomes and stuff, they clearly are just going to try to play a vanilla game. They're going to try to take the air out of the ball and just, complete passes, run the ball, and get out of there as quick as they can, because the game doesn't mean anything. These games still mean a lot for a lot of different teams. And there's no way, like, Shedeur Sanders is playing for a job next year. This guy could literally be the starting quarterback of the Browns next year. And for the new head coach, and like, he wants to put as much good film as he possibly can. Same thing with like even Mariota, who's fighting for a backup job next year. Like, there's so many guys that want to continue to play to get a job, and there's no such thing as just packing it in. Like, I know teams are tanking, quote, but like even Kenny Pickett will go out there and try.
Yep.
It's gross,
Kenny Pickett, right? Kenny Pickett playing for his career. It's a big deal. I did just want to add, as we segue into some, I want to talk about some of these running backs. And again, I promise I'm keeping track of your questions. There's a lot. We'll hit as many of them as we can. Jordan Renan, the Giants beat, really, really good beat writer, by the way, has mentioned now, if you were worried about the weather and worried about the Giants' like toughness status, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Wan'Dale Robinson, and which one of these is not like the other? Jalen Hyatt are all warming up shirtless at the game. So they went full Matt Collins. That's the stupidest stuff ever, by the way. Like having played and all that kind of stuff. Be warm, dude. No one is intimidated by you running around shirtless. If it makes you get tougher or whatever, and it helps you get in a mental state, sure. But if you're doing it because you want to show other people that you're tough, like, no, I think you're an idiot, and I'm not scared of you because you're running around. So, like, Wan'Dale Robinson isn't any tougher at 160 pounds because he's warming up shirtless, right? Jalen Hyatt, like, brother, you're not going to be on the field. Just go put a coat on. Like, no one cares if you're out there. Anyway, just happened to see it when I was looking up some news, because I do want to actually hit this first. We got a few minutes before actives and inactives come out, and there's not a lot that is like really notable, but Britt brought up in the chat, Chris Rodriguez is like a true questionable, they said. And of course, Austin Eckler's long been out, and this is a pretty good spot for the Washington, we both like the Washington offense. We like the passing game, but it's a really good spot for the running game too. If Chris Rodriguez is out, where does that put Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt amongst your priorities today?
I can't click his. I'll play it because it allows you to like get a Gibbs, Puka double, and probably get Jamar Chase. To be honest, you could probably fit all that in, but it's definitely a frustrating aspect where Jeremy Nichols is going to play plenty, and if is Chase Edmonds. I think Chase Edmonds is on that team too. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he just all of a sudden got like 28% of the snaps.
He's on the active roster as well. They brought him up this week.
Yeah. So like to me, like between Edmonds and McNichols and Ja'Cory, like all three are probably going to work. I would say that Ja'Cory is likely to get goal line, but Jeremy McNichols, I've seen him score 20 probably 2 to 3 times in the last 2 years, and that's 2 to 3 times too many. For me to try to play the 4,400 running back, I'd just probably avoid it. It's tough to click his name.
Yeah, I think it would be one of those where he's a good play for sure, but he just like Chris Rodriguez is, just like in the Washington backfield is like the most fragile thing you can have in fantasy. Someone, if they play with it right, if they get out to, if Mariota hits McLaurin for a bomb and then Dart fumbles or whatever, and they get out, it's 10-0. Like, okay, Bill's probably going to have a nice little game but if it goes the opposite way, right? If it goes Dart hits Slayton for a bomb and Mariota throws a pick, it's like, oh boy, like Bill's like, his usage isn't going to change because it's going to be McNichols out there, and Edmonds is a better passing down back as well. So it's one of those, like, it would be easy to sit here and say like lock button, right? If so-and-so's out, it's like, but it's still very game. Like he could be the best play of the slate and he could be the worst play of the slate, just depending upon like, how does the first quarter go? You know what I mean? Like, I can't, you tell me who's going to win that dumpster bowl.
It makes me feel like Ja'Cory play Ja'Cory with, Commanders DST. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. I don't fully actually recommend it. But that's the idea of like, they're playing with a lead and they're not playing from behind it all. That you got to get Dart turnovers and different things. And also with his fumbling too, like he could get benched at any given point. Like I know other running backs, except for Ramondre Stevenson, can get benched for fumbling. But he's definitely one that like, if he fumbles, Dan Quinn's gonna be like, all right, you're done, buddy. Like we'll just play our veterans and try to get them a contract next year.
Yep, 100%. So I did want to hit on that one because I do think it's important, and we're about to find out in a few minutes. I will say the same goes for Chris Rodriguez. Like if he's fine, he's going to be the lead early down runner, right? And it's the same thing. He could have a huge game here. He could also get 6 touches. Like, it's the most high variance, really, like situation in fantasy. Like, like people think like downfield, like receivers and stuff are high variance, and they are. But this is entirely game script. They have like 3 different roles in their backfield, and everybody fills a little set specific role. So, I think they're good plays, but they're also very low floor options, all of the running backs in Washington. Let's talk about some of the more popular running backs at a top of the ownership list today amongst all players, but especially at running back is Woody Marks, Nick Chubb hurt, Dameon Pierce on the Texans practice squad. I did see some Texans fans on social media lamenting the whole, like, we just cut Dameon Pierce, and then didn't we have any foresight to be like, Nick Chubb is probably, also speaking of fragile, probably a bit fragile. Don't cut Dameon Pierce, but not that it matters. But for DFS today, Woody Mark's probably going to get a lot of work, can catch passes, doesn't necessarily catch a ton of passes in that offense, but he was very good at it in college, getting the goal line work. Like you said, they're one of the higher total teams today, which feels insane, but they're playing the Arizona Cardinals, who have laid over and died other than Jacoby Brissett, Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride. What do you think about Woody Marks at 5,600, but the most popular player on the slate?
I love it because of the way that this offensive line is starting to play. They're just a much better offense right now. They brought in a new offensive coordinator after Robbie Slowick was, hurt. And this is the time of the year where that new OC's impact truly gets like, okay, we've worked out all the different issues and different things that I've noticed. And like their offensive line isn't very good on paper, but they've made it work. And this guy comes from the Rams and Sean McVay and that style of, offense. I think he's looking at Blake Corum and what Kyron did to him last weekend with these explosive running plays, and is probably going to be dialing up similar types of blocking looks. And they're not as good as the Rams O-line, but the room to run will probably be there for Woody, especially if Walter Nolan is out again. I think he was on the injury report as questionable. I'm not sure if he got completely ruled out, but he came in, huge impact. And then he got hurt again, and it was like, oh, wow, this is really, really bad. The Cardinals' defense line is not good at stopping the run.
Yeah, I think you can play just most Texans. I guess I shouldn't say that. You could technically play a Stroud Nico stack, I think, and you can play Woody Marks. You could bring along somebody for the ride, sure, whatever. But that defense is so good, and they don't really have a ton of interest in overextending themselves on offense. That's why Woody Marks is a good play. That's why everybody likes Woody Marks today. I did just want to read, because we should quickly talk about the other side, the Cardinals side of things. Here's what I'll say. I'm fully prepared to be completely wrong about this, because I've been completely wrong about this player every single slate that Marvin Harrison has not played for the Arizona Cardinals. Michael Wilson is, which is fitting because he went to Stanford, which is not the guy who should be doing this. He's probably going to stuff me in a locker for the fifth time today. Okay. Because every time I say he can't do it again, he catches 14 passes. This one, however, at his price point, against this defense, I said this last week and was wrong, right? The Rams defense was different than the ones he had played before. I know this one for a fact that this is a different defense than what he has played so far this year. Let me just read you the passing yardage totals allowed by the Texans defense for the last, let's call it the whole season. The most, just some numbers. The most they've allowed passing yardage in a game this year, 224 passing yards to the Rams in week 1. Okay. The only other time they've allowed over 200 passing yards was week 3 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The last few weeks, mind you, this is against the Chiefs, 148, the Colts, 195, the Bills, who they sacked Josh Allen 8 times, 183, right? Go down the list. The Niners you talked about, 175. You just don't throw the ball on this team. You might be able to, now this team can't, but you might be able to bully them up front a little bit in the run game. That's the only way you can move the ball, and that's not how Arizona's going to move the ball today. I can tell you that. So in terms of the Arizona side of things, you mentioned Xing some stuff out. I X'd out the Cardinals passing game. There's just a lot of other spots that I like. And someone just might ask about Michael Wilson because, look, he just keeps smashing. But I think the rubber has finally met the road here, I think, against the Texans.
Yeah, he is someone that I just will never play. And it's just one of those things that I've lost money because of that ideology. Multiple weeks with him just absolutely killing it at his ownership. If he does it against Derek Stingley, just, good for him. That's awesome. He's over 6K now. If he has to get 28 to make me feel like, oh, I really messed up here. And even on this slate, I think there's just a ton of outs for me. McLaurin being 1,500 less against the Giants is a matchup that I will buy into any day of the week. Also, just saw Rashard Bateman is inactive for the Ravens after his ankle injury, which I'm surprised that he was inactive there. So that bumps up my Isaiah Likely love for sure. Because DeAndre Hopkins is just not
Yep.
Not it. So that's another person. Oh, Max Melton's also inactive for the Cardinals, which bumps up Nico Collins. Will Johnson's the only corner that I'd be afraid of in that matchup, and Will Johnson got absolutely mossed by Puka this past weekend. That was that was what the Cardinals live with him on the boundary, but he just got dominated. I don't know if Stroud will give him that opportunity, but that's besides the fact. But Michael Wilson could continue to burn me. That's just not going to be the guy I play.
So somebody said, sounds like you're trying to convince yourself. I assure you, I am not. He has from the moment I opened the week 15 and saw that they were playing the Texans, I was genuinely excited to not play Michael Wilson. It's my job to literally break it. It's our job to break down the situation. And he's a guy that keeps smashing, and someone's probably going to ask about it. What I will say is people saying like, he's going to get 1 million targets. He's going to get there. They're going to throw 50 times. You have to sustain drives, right? Like, I just read you. Go look at the pass attempts against the Texans defense. Even when they're beating teams, like, you have to sustain drives. You have to move the football, and like no one really moves the football through the air against this team. He's going to get targeted, of course, but he's going to get targeted with one of the best corners in the league on him, with the best pass defense in the league on him, one of the best pass rushes getting after his quarterback. I will bet the under on 50 pass attempts for the Arizona Cardinals today, and I would bet the under on 15 targets for Michael Wilson for sure. So if I'm wrong about that, he's 6,600 now. He has to do what he's been doing. Yeah. It's not the old 5K stuff where he was absolutely dunking on everyone that didn't play him. Okay, let's talk about actives and inactives, because of course I didn't think it was going to be important today, and it is. You mentioned Rashad Bateman out. You hit on I think, to me, the main beneficiary of that is Isaiah Likely. You could say Mark Andrews as well. The tight ends. No, DeAndre Hopkins is cooked, like it's totally cooked. Zay is Zay. Nothing really changes for Zay Flowers. Tez Walker, whatever, like is going to play a little bit more, right? Charlie Kohler is going to play a little bit more. But in terms of funneling targets to the offense, to me, it's just like I was already playing Isaiah Likely, and now I just like him even more.
Yeah, I think you could even, if you're interested in Lamar Jackson, I'm not playing him because I'm not 115 this particular weekend. I would not hate a Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews Likely stack. Like it feels super gross, but man, when you just look at Dawson Knox and Kincaid last week, just tight ends all season long. You had Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Jonnu Smith feel like they got there in that first game with Flacco.
Jackson Hawes caught a touchdown last week too.
That's the other, this is just a team you just play tight ends against, and it doesn't feel good. But if you're interested in Lamar, I highly recommend playing both tight ends and just living with it.
I agree. We should be upset the Michael Wilson hive in the chat, but anyone can fail against the Texans is what I'll tell you. If Rashee Rice is going to have a horrible game against the Texans, I promise you Michael Wilson can. So Chris Rodriguez is officially inactive. If you want to hear kind of what we discussed on that, how we would handle it, we did that like 10 minutes ago or so. You can just scroll back just a little bit, but it definitely makes Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt a better play. But again, that backfield is weird. If they don't play from ahead or at least neutral from a game script perspective, Bill, which is what everyone calls him, right, is not really going to play. Not just touches. He's not going to be on the field. If Jeremy McNichols and or Chase Edmonds will be out there if they're like down by 10 plus, right? Or they're passing. I'm not saying that's going to happen. He may have an awesome game. He could have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. He could also he could also play 15 snaps. It's really, really crazy. So QJ is also inactive. I don't have a lot of interest in that game. Is there anything in that game that stood out to you, just to hit on that while we're talking about QJ?
The defenses, Chiefs offensive line is so dead. It's just
the Chargers one has been dead for months.
And Trey Pipkins is even out today. I think he was active last. I don't remember, but regardless, kudos to Justin Herbert and what he's doing with this team, because watching him play, it's like drop back to pass and Nakobe Dean's coming down the barrel, and he just has to make him miss, and then he's doing it with a broken hand, mind you. It's just, I hope Kansas City loses, because I would love to see the Chiefs just eliminated from the playoffs. But I mean, that game's just going to be a bloodbath on defense.
I agree. Yeah, the two I wrote up and bet the under in that game, and I was like, this feels so weird I'm like Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs, Chargers, and the total's like 41.5, and I'm betting the under. But it's like, like you said, offensive line is so important, and those offensive lines are, Javon says KC defense against Chargers, bad offensive line. It's bad. It's really, really bad on both sides of the football. Hollywood is also out. I don't think that really changes a ton there. Somebody did ask, Trey Harris is 3,100 on the Chargers. I mean, there are worse flyers. He's going to play. It's just that his role is like still going to be like the fifth option in the passing game.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get that low. I think the lowest receiver I'm playing this week is Darius Slayton, and that's because Commanders are the worst team in the NFL at defending slants. And if you've noticed Jackson Dart's like big plays to Slayton, that's what it's been. He's dropped a few of them, like the Saints and a few other games. But last week against the Patriots, he took a slant off Christian Gonzalez, I think it was, or I don't remember which corner. It was either Davis or Gonzalez, and he scored on like a 40-yard touchdown in the first half.
Yep. So. Alex asks, any interest in Derrick Henry? While we were talking about the Ravens, if they're going to play more tight ends, theoretically, it's also a little bit better for Derrick Henry out there a little bit. The Bengals defense still horrible against the run. He didn't get home because of a really weird game the last time, but it is quite fascinating that Derrick Henry against the Bengals is the 7th highest owned running back at 7,300. And I like nobody is really talking much about him. What do you think about him?
I mean, you could play him with Likely. They're cheap enough that it could both pay off. Like, I'm not really afraid of that at all. I think he fit perfectly into one of the builds that I had. It's Derrick Henry and it's December. I'm just looking at that guy. It's like this is probably the perfect week to play him because of the fact that the ownership's just not going to really be there. I think I would rather play him at price than Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot and I like the game environment a lot. But the $1,400 in salary save to afford, the Puka or something and getting to like Jameson Williams as a run back is kind of what I would, the way I'm playing that Lions-Rams game.
I love that. Let's also, I agree with Britt's post in the chat. Perfect segue into Jahmyr Gibbs, who is the currently projected second highest owned running back on DraftKings.com at 8,800, just a tick ahead of Christian McCaffrey. Let's just talk about this kind of next chalkier group of running backs. I would call it, I'll lump the other guy in here. We talked about Woody. We have Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey. So you got a couple of really expensive spend ups at running back that are going to be popular, right? And then you have Travis Etienne because the Jets are absolutely putrid, and Travis Etienne has been pretty good. The Jaguars should play with the lead, all that kind of stuff. It's Brady Cook, by the way, starting at quarterback for the Jets. Good Lord. I can't believe this is like week 18 stuff that we're getting in week 15 from the Jets. And then Ken Walker, right? So the theory being he's 5,600. They should also be playing with a very big lead against Phillip Rivers and the Colts. So Ken Walker at the same price as Woody Marks is much less owned, but in an interesting spot for sure. What do you think about this kind of I will call these the guys with ownership that like we care about. After this, it's kind of just like a free for all. So Gibbs, CMC, Etienne, Walker.
I'm not getting to much of McCaffrey just because of the price point and the way that I'm building with Puka is just not happening. Gibbs is fine. I like Jamo over Gibbs in terms of the game stack from the salary save and the rest of the position. I'm playing Woody Marks. I'm buying into that. Watching that Cardinals defense last week, like it's just one of those teams that looks like they're giving up the explosive play. And now you're telling me like Woody Marks is probably the goal line back with no Nick Chubb. You're getting a guy that we know is a good pass catcher. And the way the Cardinals quarters coverage works, like I think Stroud will throw it to the swing route with Woody Marks plenty in this game, just because that's a way that teams have attacked this defense. And then on the other side of it, with Etienne and the cheaper running backs, I should say, with Etienne and Walker, I'm fine with Etienne. I'm scared of Tootin. Like, I'm just terrified of the role that he could get in this particular game where it's like, we can rest Etienne a little bit here. Like, he'll probably get a lot of usage in the first half, but I'm scared of what his second half production will look like. So you're going to need that early big touchdown run against the Jets. With Kenneth Walker, I'm not getting to it. I don't understand it. It's like, I get the big favorite against the Colts here, but I also know Sauce Gardner's out and Travarius Ward is out. And they're starting to work Rashid Shaheed into the offense a little bit. He had the big, I think, kick return or punt return last week.
Yep.
On top of a few like big play opportunities. I see Seattle working that into the offense a little bit more. And then on top of that, Zach Charbonnet just played like 43% last time they're out there. It's like not like, Kenneth Walker has played over 60% of snaps once this entire season. I'm good. I'll pass on it this week. If the field wants to play that guy over, not over, but at that price, I'll gladly go elsewhere. Like I'll just play 2 running backs and get to a receiver or tight end at the flex.
I totally agree. Ken Walker. The other thing, there was another coach quote, which, by the way, I just want to shout out to. There's a social media account and Discord called Coach Speak Index that I use a ton for coach quotes. Shout out to Greg. He does a really, really good job. And so there was a quote about he was asked about. I don't remember if it was Kubiak or McDonald, not really important, but about Zach Charbonnet and being like, Ken Walker's playing really well, but you keep using Zach Charbonnet at the goal line. Like, is there a reason, right? Yeah. And he basically just said, yeah, like we like both of them, right? He does the total answer of, got to hype them both up. But like, we just really like, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's a little more physical, we think he's a good fit at the goal line. So like, even if you get more of the Ken Walker work, like he still might come out at the goal line. And you're like, congrats, you got your touches, but you didn't get any of the money touches. Zach Charbonnet has done that, as kind of ruined him several weeks this year. So I agree. The field has definitely gotten smarter about the huge favorite running back thing, but this one feels like to me now Ken Walker's talented. They can or should absolutely pummel the Colts today. So he can break off a big one, right? He can pull a Tony Pollard in this spot or whatever that just comes out of nowhere. I'm glad that reminded me, because last week there was one. If you're here, there's no way he came back. First of all, the guy who kept asking about Tony Pollard, and we were like, no, dude, like absolutely not. Don't play Tony Pollard. And then he set a career high rushing yardage, career high. This dude was elite on the Cowboys, and he set a career high against the Browns last week. He scores a 65-yard touchdown on the third play, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad.
The best part is like I'm a Tony Pollard guy. Like because I was at UCF recruiting when Memphis had Darrell Henderson, Pollard, and all of their running backs. Yep. I was on the field for that Darrell Henderson 200-yard game in the AAC championship against UCF, and I remember our coaches saying, "Yeah, the Henderson's fine. Pollard's the way better running back." So in all my rookie drafts that year, I was just so anti Darrell Henderson and just drafted Pollard every chance I got. And seeing Pollard go in the 7th round was disrespectful, but it's fine. Our coaches thought he was the better running back, which is wild because Henderson had 200 yards.
That was one of my favorite little like niche college football fandom era of the Memphis. Memphis had at one time on the same run. This is like the Bama wide receiver room for total nerds, right? Yeah. Like for college football nerds and losers. Darrell Henderson, Tony Pollard, Patrick Taylor, who is still like sort of technically in the NFL, and Kenny Gainwell, all on the same team at Memphis. A little bit they had some good wide receivers too. I'm forgetting a couple of names. A little bit after came Calvin Austin and whatever. Yeah. They've produced some really fun talent.
Anthony Miller, that was the one.
Anthony Miller,
the one that let us all down.
Thank you. Yeah, yes, he did. Yes, he did. But shout out to the guy, dude. That's one of those I will say, like from a DFS lesson, is like if you really truly believe in something, play it. No matter what I say, no matter what he says, no matter what the smartest tout in the world says, which is absolutely not me. If you believe in something, like you're going to be way more disappointed if that happens, what Tony Pollard did, and you didn't play it because you listened to me, versus if he fails and you played him, you'd be like, at least I trusted myself, right? At least I can learn from what somebody told me, but at least I trusted myself. So that's what I always believe, right? Like why I do some of the crazy stuff I do. Why Tyler Johnson, right? Like why am I doing that stuff? It's like, RIP to our Tyler. It was fun while it lasted. Anyway, let's talk some other running backs. Because I want to hit on a couple of the guys who I think are intriguing in the similar range to the Woodies and the ETNs and the Ken Walkers and stuff that are going a little bit more overlooked. I tagged RJ Harvey, and I also am intrigued by Quinshon Judkins. Now, those two guys are not in as good of spots, right? They're not projected for as many points, all that kind of stuff. But actually starting with Judkins, because it's more recent news, Dylan Sampson is out today, and Jerome Ford was put on IR. So they have him and Rocket Sanders, and Rocket Sanders hasn't been active essentially most of the season. He did steal a touchdown in game 1. Weird. But Quinshon Judkins is pretty solid. The Bears have a pretty poor run defense. And if that game wasn't negative 20 degrees, I think we'd be looking at it as like, oh, there could be a little bit of fun here in this game. And so I think Judkins is going to get a whole bunch of work and catch a few more passes than he would normally. That's a flaw of his profile in most weeks. But this week, we might get a few more catches. And RJ Harvey's like the version of that, actually on a good offense, but in a pretty rough spot, generally speaking. But the 6K price is pretty good. He has 10 targets over the last 2 weeks. He's scoring right? He's getting the goal line work. And he hasn't hit any big plays yet. And that's kind of what he did in college. So those guys are, 7% and 6, both 7% compared to the guys in the 20s and 30s. And I think that they're pretty good tournament pivots.
I also like Travion Henderson. I'll throw his name in there at that.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the home run hitting play, I watched Sean Tucker go for 30 with a split backfield, and Ramondre kind of feels like Rashad White, where he just out there. like he does everything. He fumbles, which is annoying, but like he gets you 4 yards usually, and he runs really hard. But then you just have this, juiced up rookie that's off a bye week. Like I know the split worked towards Ramondre last week against the Giants. That was a team that was blitzing a ton. I think from a blitzing perspective, they noticed it early in the game, and they put in Travion with their backup. They put in Ramondre with a lot of backup offensive linemen in that game. The Bills don't blitz as much as that Giants team will or did in that game. So I think that we could see a little bit more run from Travion this week, and at 6-1 and 1%, that's one of the 1% guys that I will take a chance on.
I like it. Max Coverage asked about Saquon. We talked about Derrick Henry and Saquon are in that kind of next tier from an ownership perspective and also a pricing perspective. In between kind of the Woody and the CMC Gibbs, they kind of fall into this weird spot they're owned, but they're not super duper owned. And he's much more expensive, but what's the functional difference except, talent and situation from like a Saquon versus a Ken Walker, where, the Eagles should be able to run as many times as they would like to run today. It's not like the Raiders are going to push them. And we know what the Eagles do when they're not pushed. It's just like they haven't been effective on the ground at all year. Are they going to be effective today? What do you think about Saquon?
I think he's a fine play. I don't really have that much of a lean between him and Derrick Henry. I think I'd prefer, when I'm playing likely, I feel just like I'd want to get Saquon just because it's not 2 players from the same team. And I know that's flawed logic from a DFS perspective. But it's just, to me, if you're going to be considering Saquon, I would rather go down to the RJ Harvey, Travions of the world with the Woody Marks and then go up at receiver. That's probably the way that I would be building, or even up at tight end.
I like that. A couple questions before we get into some of our favorite kind of quarterback, wide receiver stacks and games and such. These are from the Discord. So if you're in the Discord, thank you for listening. And I want to make sure that I hit you guys' questions as well. First, on the running back side of things, Chuba, 2 that we didn't mention, which you can talk about your Carolina Panthers against the Saints here. Chuba popped back up to steal some work from Rico Dowdle, though Dowdle still got a nice share of work. But are you buying the Chuba Hubbard thing, or do you prefer a DeAndre Swift on FanDuel specifically?
Chuba's fine. He's playing a lot more now. It's a 50-50 backfield than it should be. Everybody can, yell at the clouds or for whatever reason they want to. The Panthers beat the Rams. Are you going to tell us the game plan was bad? I don't know. We went ahead and we have an identity as a team, and we're just going to kind of go with who is running the best. Chuba is fine at the price tag, not touching Dowdle. And then between Chuba and Swift, that's tough. I lean Chuba just because I'm afraid of Monaguy's just been so good on the goal line. And I think you need the tough running style near that part of the field with the Browns. And I know Tony Pollard broke big plays against them. If it happens twice, then it happens twice for me. It's one of those things that I hope to God it doesn't happen again.
I almost didn't want to ask this one because I'm so scarred from the Tony Pollard game. I also had a season-long team that played against, I forget, whoever. I'm also still scarred from the Kyle Pitts game, but somebody played Pollard against me in a season-long, like a must-win season-long matchup. And you go into the week and I'm like, I have a pretty decent team. You look at their team and it looks terrible and whatever. And I'm like, nope, congratulations. Like you just not like it's over, from Tony freaking Pollard.
I have a tight end premium league that I'm playing Kyle Pitts in the first round of the playoffs. And he has Brock Bowers. And I was like, I'm starting 3 tight ends, and I'm not sure I outscore either of his tight ends. It's just like I have like Juwan Johnson, Tyler Warren, and Kincaid, and it's like, this is gross.
Oh man. Okay, a couple more quick questions. You mentioned the Rams, so another like segue is Blake Corum, who's playing a little bit more here in recent weeks for the Rams. Is he viable in large field GPPs? I have a pretty strong take on this one, but I get yours first.
I don't think I'm playing him against the Lions. Lions are just they're just so good at stopping the run because they play 3 linebackers, and anybody wants to say, oh, put another DB on the field. They don't have one. Brian Branch tore his Achilles. Kirby Joseph's out. Their backup safety's out. Like, they are just worn down in their secondary. So they almost have to play Derek Barnes, Anzalone, and Jack Campbell out there. All 3 of them just kind of have to be on the field. And also the Rams, they'll play a little bit of, they don't do 13 anymore, but even in their 3 wide receiver sets, like I don't necessarily fear, Tutu Atwell on the field. Like I know he's matched up with a linebacker, but it's not going to be down the field. They'll have safety help over the top. I actually think Tutu Atwell is an interesting player if you're playing Stafford today. I think he could catch a big one.
Do you think he's going to step right back in? Like Xavier Smith has been playing quite well, and they, Whittington gets Whittington's like this is I'm sorry, Jordan Whittington and your family. He's like the poor man's Trey Harris, where like Trey Harris is just really out there to block, but he's at least going to get like 3 or 4 targets. Whittington is out there, and he's like the dude on the basketball court that you just leave alone in the corner. Like he stands in the corner, and nobody. It's like we have to play 5 guys, so you can be out here, but no one cares. Like they play those other guys, so I'm a little worried about. I love to play it before we see it, right? So that's the perk of Tutu. But like functionally, Xavier Smith and Tutu are like the Spider-Man meme. I wonder if Tutu gets out there and runs a few routes, but maybe not as many as we would hope.
I mean, I think if the routes he's going to run are what you want for him, like he's going to be the guy on a motion that takes off on a wheel route, like they use like Tyreek Hill. And I do actually had to go back and check. They did run a lot of 13 last week.
Even without Higbee. So
yeah, they went Ferguson, Parkinson, and Davis Allen, and they all played over 60% of the snaps, which is just actually gross. Because I remember like tracking that because McVay is so much fun with the way he uses personnel. Like he's just all in or all out. Like they don't run 12. That's the weirdest thing about it.
No,
they do
11
not
and
go
13.
to 2 tight ends.
That's it.
It's so funny.
Yeah, he went from literally 99% of snaps and 11%. He was like we knew what they were doing because and we don't got to get into it. But it is so fascinating, the Rams, and part of why McVay is a freaking wizard is he finds these little things that he can exploit defenses and he takes advantage of it. But that's also part of the issue with like a Tutu Atwell. It's also what makes Puka and Devontae Adams awesome because they are when they're out there, they're playing with a bunch of tight ends, and that's a lot of targets, right? From a per route basis, they're getting a lot of targets. So let's start there from the passing side of things. That game, highest total, most fun, like real life football game on the slate for sure. Lions are still fighting for their playoff lives. This is a huge game for them from a real life perspective. But unfortunately for them, the Rams are probably the best team in the NFC. I think the Rams can exploit that Lions pass defense that you talked about. Like, I don't even know. I take a little bit of, not as like, more of the defenders than I do, but I take a decent amount of pride in being in the top X percentile of all the defensive players. We've run out of guys that I know in the Detroit Lions secondary. Like it's that bad. And then they're also, like you said, really good at stopping the run. They always have been for the last couple of seasons. It just feels to me like someone asked in the Discord, do I have to have multiple players from this game? I don't think that's true, but I find it really, really hard to believe that someone in the Rams passing game isn't having a big day today, whether it's Puka or Devontae or Tutu catches a long one or Parkinson or whatever. I'm not saying it has to be Puka, but I'm saying he's my favorite. And it's really hard to see an outcome where the Rams don't have someone who has a really big game today.
Yeah, it's one of those things that the Lions play a ton of man. They did it against the Cowboys. They're going to do it again here. And even if they go zone, that doesn't matter. Stafford and Puka and are on the same page with that. Like, I think I said it when we were in like week 3, and I was like, Devontae Adams is now the red zone offense of the Rams. That's the frustrating part with Puka. He has to score from 15 or more yards out. He is not going to get red zone usage because he can't win that quick. It's just not his philosophy. And if you isolate Devontae Adams and your corner, and hey, if you're showing outside leverage, please, for the love of God, don't get beat outside, because I've seen that happen like 4 times in the last like 3 weeks. All these guys are lining up with outside leverage, and Devontae's still killing them. And Stafford's throwing a fadeaway jumper, he calls it. But this game is definitely super fun from both sides. JMO is obviously the guy that I'm going to die on this week. I know we haven't mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have no problem with anybody wanting to play Amon-Ra in this matchup. I just think with Quentin Lake and some of the guys they have over the middle of the field, that's not the area to exploit. It's whoever's Emmanuel Forbes is being covered by. And I don't think, and Emmanuel Forbes probably matches up pretty well with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He struggled against more bigger type receivers throughout his career. Jamo's not the biggest guy, but he's a bit bigger than Amon-Ra, and he's obviously got the 4.3 speed with him.
A great question, which is a perfect place for that from Joseph in the chat. So he wants to know about ranking our favorite high salary wide receivers on DraftKings. And so there are 6 wide receivers above 7K, technically 7,200. It's pretty interesting because there is Puka. There's actually both Rams wide receivers, right? Puka is 8,700. Devontae is 7,200. Sandwiched in between those two guys, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Rashee Rice. I'm just going to go ahead and say I think we have Rashee Rice last. I think we both have Rashee. We probably don't have to discuss too much Rashee Rice, though maybe you have a different opinion on that. It's a pretty appealing group of guys, part of why I'm not getting to much Christian McCaffrey or Jahmyr Gibbs, actually, because I really do like these spend ups. But how did you talked about the Rams, but how did like JSN, Chase, Rashee and stuff, how do they play into your top receivers?
So Puga's number one. It's just the inevitable for me. But after that, it's probably Jamar Chase and then JSN. Then you probably go, to me, Adams, Amon-Ra, Rashee Rice. The Jamar Chase, like I watched them on Thanksgiving. They knew this was the guy they had to stop. T. Higgins wasn't playing. They had Mitchell Tinsley out there with them. They couldn't stop it. I know everybody's worried about Burrow and if he likes football. I swear that's just how he talks. I don't like the guy is just, if you watch the NFL QB thing, he is a morbid, like his house looks like American Psycho. That's what it feels like when I was watching this documentary. So I'm not really worried about Joe Burrow. I think he's fed up with Zach Taylor and just the Bengals as an organization, which is a bigger problem. But Jamar Chase and him, they weren't on the same page against the Bills. I think they get on the same page here and are going to be fine against the Ravens. And the Ravens, this new DC cannot figure out how to stop him. And I know Jamar Chase is a hard player to stop. I've watched some teams be able to figure it out. This Ravens team is not one of those. It's like 3 straight games over 100 yards, 2 of which he had 200 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like he could totally ruin my slate, but I'm finding lineups that get me Chase and Puka in my builds.
Currently, I will say my main team has both of them, and I'm not playing.
If we ship together and we split, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
We somehow land on the same team. I have another buddy that I talk DFS with every week, and we've been on he'll just, we don't like discuss lineups together. He'll send me like, here's what I think I'm playing today, and like we've been so far off every week. First of all, he loves CMC. He plays CMC all the time. And this week was like, he said, here's what I'm playing today. I'm like, oh my God, that's so close to my team, which is like you and I, we were like, oh my God, we like all the same players. This is going to be really bad or really, really good. There's probably no in between. I think you can play multiple of these guys in a lineup, and I don't actually think it's all that difficult to do. One option that isn't Trey Harris that we talked about, or Darius Slayton or something like that you mentioned. Martin asks, I will say, I liked him last time. Granted, it was the Thanksgiving slate. But Mitchell Tinsley is going to run a lot of routes today. Joe Burrow does like him. If you recall, Mitchell Tinsley might be on this team because of Joe Burrow, honestly. They did cut Jermaine Burton. My God, what a dumpster fire Jermaine Burton is. But Mitchell Tinsley got 9 targets. And if you follow like expected fantasy points, now he had caught 2 passes for 20 yards or whatever. If you follow like expected fantasy points, he was expected to score on those, right? Which takes into account, air yards, all right, end zone, red zone, whatever. like 28 fantasy points or something on those 9 targets, and he finished with 4. So, there were some tough catches and all that stuff in there. I don't think it's crazy to go back to the well. I think I might like Mike Gesicki just a little bit better if you're like double stacking or something, but it's close, and I don't think it's crazy. Someone asked about him in cash. I'm not a cash player, so I haven't like run optimals or anything like that. I find it hard to believe that he would be in there, but the old lazy answer, like, you can do worse than Mitchell Tinsley. If he makes absolutely everything you want to do work in a cash build, sure, but I would imagine that's not like what the optimal is going to say.
Yeah, I think that I'd rather like double tight ends with like the likely Gesicki, likely, and Theo Johnson, Harold Fannin, like any of those types of guys. I mean, he is my favorite of the 3,100 and below crew. And is definitely the guy that I would say is the most appealing. Tutu Atwell at 3,300 on DK is a guy that I probably play over him just because of the fact that if you're, that piece of that game, if he's the one that gets the 70-yard touchdown, that helps you a ton, especially if you're not playing the Puka or different things. Obviously with a Burrow stack, get to Tinsley. That's the path. Like, Burrow does not get there, not necessarily a path, but it's one path that Burrow gets there with 2 pass catchers. It's either Tinsley or Gesicki, most likely. I don't think each of us is going to be at what price is he? He's like 4-1 or something. Yeah, he's 4-1. Yeah. I'd much rather play Tinsley at 3-1 than each of us at 4-1.
I agree. Let's talk about, I see you guys questions. Please keep them coming. We'll hit plenty of those. We got about 15 minutes. Crunch time, 13 minutes. Crunch time will be in here. Well, I want to, we've kind of hit on tight ends along the way. I want to hit some more receivers, stack stuff, hit tight end. And then if we can get to defense, we will. But then, of course, we'll bring crunch time in. And again, they'll lead you guys all the way up until lock. We kind of hit on like our favorite, stacks and stuff. We both like Washington and the Giants, though we didn't talk a ton about those receivers yet. What do you think? I'll let you do the Terry McLaurin bit, but like this game seems to be popular, right? Wandale, a lot of people tag Wandale. You talked about Darius Slayton. Is there any other Washington pass catcher that you like? Zach Ertz is out, right? Debo is active. He had an illness as well. Just like talk about the receivers in this game.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin has like a 41% air yard share against blitzes. That's kind of like, hey, he's the guy that they're targeting down the field. With Marcus Mariota out there, he has actually been pretty productive from a yards per route run standpoint. Against the Broncos, when watching that game, anytime he saw cover 0, he went to McLaurin against Pat Surtain. That was like another big, like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is the type of off defense that I expect the Giants to run. I don't love Debo. I'm fine with it, but I don't love him comparatively. And then on the Giants side, like, I get Wandale. He is definitely a good play on paper. I feel the Darius Slayton week is what is here. Just from the way that Slayton has won and the way this Washington Commanders team struggles is through like quick slants and different things like that. And that's been Slayton with Dart. The other person I would say is Theo Johnson, because I watched Hawkinson and Josh Oliver combine for 3 touchdowns against the Commanders last weekend. I have a buddy who's a Vikings fan that actually went. That was the only game he went to. So you got to see J.J. McCarthy look competent for 48 minutes or 60 minutes, and he's sold. So that's a tough pill to swallow.
If you saw the fourth quarter of week 1 or that game, that would make you think that McCarthy is good. If you watch the rest of the season, you think he's the worst quarterback that's ever graced us in the NFL. Kinger asks Ben Sinnott or is it John Bates or Jesse? John Bates.
No.
I'm not playing either of those guys. I agree that my favorite. Let's just do the tight end thing. Yeah. Isaiah Likely is easily my favorite tight end. I don't love the spend ups too much today. You can certainly play Ben Sinnott. I think that's okay. It's like not the worst thing. He's 2,600, so it gives you a little bit of savings. But I like Theo Johnson on the opposite side with the Giants, as you mentioned, like a lot more than the Washington tight end. So it's I think a $900 price difference, which is not nothing. But like $3,400 Likely, $3,500 Theo are like honestly my priorities at the tight end position. So Sinnott falls behind there.
That's weird. Seems like I'm curious at one point to see if we actually have the same exact lineup. That would just be really funny. That'd be really funny in a 13-game slate. You and I just build the exact same lineup.
It's not all the chalk, and it's not all the chalk.
It's not the chalk. It's Isaiah Likely, dude. it's a double tight end. I will, from a just receiver's perspective, one receiver I'd like to highlight, like the Ricky Pearsall. I said it earlier in the show. That's one of the 5K receivers that I'm in. I'm in against Titans. Like I'm in against that what I saw Shedeur Sanders do last week.
I like it. Just a couple of people have asked about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, aka Bill, the C-Rod thing. Again, we hit on it a couple times, but I understand people may have just joined. Here's what I'll say: it's probably the most polarizing spot of the slate because, like I said, if the Commanders play with a lead and they're able to get off and running to start, no pun intended. Bill could have 100 yards and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns or something like that. He's not going to catch very many passes, and he can very easily be game scripted out of this game. He's not the passing down back. That will be Jeremy McNichols. So it's kind of up to you. I would build my team accordingly, essentially. It's like this is the Washington's going to play with a lead in this game, or at minimum, it's a neutral game, right? Maybe a little back and forth. If they're playing from behind, he's just like not even going to play, not get touches. He's not going to be on the field. So he's a good play. But also, like, he could, like I said, play like 18 snaps.
I feel like I'd like Ja'Cory in like dart stacks or just playing maybe Commander's defense.
Force Dart to throw more. Yeah.
Just kind of get Dart playing from behind. Like a Dart, Theo, Darius Slayton with Ja'Cory is like a super cheap way to get to Gibbs, Puka, and Jamar Chase. Probably you could probably fit all that in there.
Exactly.
It's gross.
A couple just you've also we've talked about Michael Wilson, right? We talked about the Lions and the Rams, kind of some of the most important wide receiver stuff. That was Giants and Commanders. Just a couple other guys that are generating a little bit of ownership. Your boy T-Mac today. 6K is a little bit much for me. Certainly the spot is fine. He's had one big game this year, and that was fun and everything.
The Saints have. So if you're watching that game, there's one thing in particular the Saints do that frustrates me so much because they're so good at it. They take away the throwing lanes for Bryce Young better than anybody that I see because of how much they played against Drew Brees, and Demario Davis was the leader of a lot of those defenses during that time. If you watch what they do this like double spy on Bryce Young, where their middle linebackers, almost instead of covering the middle of the field, they like go out and come in between the guards and the tackles, but don't blitz. They just stand there and jump up and bat the ball down. And it happens so many times. Like, I'm so sick of playing Demario Davis as a Panthers fan. He's the full reason they freaking killed us the first time. Like, it was just incredible what he was doing out there. But
I do love it. I think you can play, right, just for some other like playable names. The Saints wide receiver, specifically Chris Olave, is always like it, right? It's like the T-Mac thing. It's like if you land on a team with 6,200 left at wide receiver, he's taking a little bit of a hit. Chuck is running and Taysom's back and Devon Vele is getting targets, and so it's a little bit worse than it was before. But I think it's okay. And then I will just add that you want to talk about gross? We've talked about a lot of gross, but the real gross stuff is in that Jets-Jags game. That game is at least in Jacksonville, so it's not 0 degrees, right? And the Jags are probably just going to steamroll them. Brady Cook is not very good, but it is still A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie with no target competition because Mason Taylor is also out for the Jets. There's just no one. And, Jacoby Myers is going to, I guess, get 10 targets every week, apparently. He's just risen above Brian Thomas Jr. Parker Washington is back, but I don't have much to say, but I did just want to mention those guys. Rashid Shaheed. Oh yeah, I wrote down Rashid Shaheed as well, as you said today. I think they're starting to get him cooking. He was getting really involved. Like Clint Kubiak talked about him getting back up to speed, and just like there was still he played in this offense last year, but not for that long because he tore his ACL, and there was a little bit of a transition period. I think we're reaching the point of like this. It's like a full wheels up for Rashid Shaheed. And like you said, there's some corner issues for the Colts among the many issues that the Colts have right about now with the 44-year-old.
And they lost Elijah Arroyo, so going 12-13 is a bit harder, which is just changes their offense to probably shift to more of an 11 personnel style of group, and they can do it. Like the Shaheed, Cup, and JSN together it complements each other pretty well, to be honest. Like Cooper Cup wins in the intermediate and short, JSN wins at all 3 levels, and Rashid Shaheed wins deep. So
there's some folks in the chat that are Phillip Rivers believers, and I respect you. Okay, I respect taking an opposite stance to what the overall sentiment is, but I would also just say it's okay to be on the more popular take when it's correct. The guy is 44 years old and he's been coaching high school football. Did you watch Teddy Bridgewater, by the way? The last time he got into the game, the guy that came back, and he's not 44, and he had been taking a lot of time off. That wasn't the Teddy Bridgewater I loved watching. That was a corpse. And Phillip Rivers is much older than that and not athletic in the first place.
Yeah,
so
he'll
probably complete some checkdowns to Jonathan Taylor. Okay, there, because that's what he does, right? He'll probably complete some of those. But against this Seattle, like if they were playing the Cardinals or the Giants or something, we might be having a conversation about like, is he good enough to get some big fantasy games? This is the Seahawks. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL that's going to take Jonathan Taylor away because that's what they do. And, it's just, did we watch Max Brosmer? Did we watch some of these guys face this defense? It was rough. So it's really a lot about the matchup, not trying to dunk on Phillip Rivers. Good for him. He needs the money with the 14 kids or whatever that he's got. Any other tight ends? Eric short fuse today. Not really. I'm happy. I'm honestly, I am fired up. It's the fantasy playoffs. I'm excited. I'm not going to be leaving my house because it's so freaking cold. So we're ready to watch some football, man. I'm excited. Any other tight ends? We talked about Likely. We talked about Theo. We talked a little bit about Ben Sinnott and stuff. But it's a pretty tight core. Who else you got?
Kittle at the top. I do like the Purdy doubles. I get the love for Fannin. I do. I understand the logic there. I'm just not going to play it. Like, he's going to be one of the more popular tight ends, and he's been really, really good. Watching him dunk on the Tennessee Titans makes me more inclined to want to play Kittle. That's kind of the way I look at it. And then nothing else. I don't really have anybody that I even remotely want to get to. Mark Andrews, I guess, with just the idea that Bengals are bad. That's about it.
Yep. Did you mention? I apologize. I was reading the chat. The chat had some good comments. Fannin, did we talk about Harold Fannin?
I was just mentioning it.
Yeah,
he's fine. I'm just not playing the popular tight end with Likely.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. No one loves Harold Fannin more than myself. I love watching that duck-footed dude run around and just run people over. He's like a baby Darnell Washington, but like even more athletic. It's crazy.
Johnny and Darnell had a baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. He's awesome. I think he's probably gonna have a fine game, but I think Likely's going to also have a minimum of a fine game with kind of the same ceiling, right? Yeah. Same thing for Theo. Like, they all have similar ceilings. Just a couple of the guys are much less owned. We talked about Gesicki. AJ Barner, you talked about, like, I don't really like that, but if the game is somehow competitive with no Elijah Arroyo, I think he could catch a touchdown or something.
Yeah, if you're
like
doubling Darnold, that's the only path. Like, if you're, that's it.
Yeah, I didn't realize all this. That Rivers reset his Hall of Fame. He's got to wait longer to see if he gets. Which I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But
in health insurance too.
Yeah, and this. Hey, whatever. Maybe do what you love. Do what you love. I'm 37 and I'm talking about fantasy football on a Sunday morning. So who am I to tell someone to stop enjoying a kid's game? That is for sure. Let's do some defenses super quick. Then we'll give our flag plants and we'll bring crunch time in. Favorite defense or two that you like today?
Seattle is definitely at the top for me. One thing I will not like this week is actually the Eagles defense, just because I want to point out that Jalen Carter's not playing, and that matters quite a bit for that team. Jaguars, Seahawks are definitely probably and Texans. God, there's so many good defenses. Honestly, those are the three up top. I would like to say that I am fully convinced on one of them. Really not. All of it makes a ton of sense from a pressure rate, from who they're playing. If you want to go cheap at defense, I still like the Browns. I still will always play the Browns. I don't care who they're playing. And I know Ben Johnson's a good play caller. Caleb Williams can still have a bad game. That is very, very capable. He is at times very inaccurate.
Caleb is going to try his patented chaos spin out of the pocket, and it's going to be Myles Garrett coming down on him, and he might break him in half today. Yeah. I fear for Caleb's franticness in the pocket against that Browns defense, especially Myles Garrett. I think, as usual, the Browns are, like you said, like, if I'm going to spend down, there isn't really like a punt, I guess I would say, that I really like today. A lot of the times the Browns have been like 2,500.
Chargers would probably be the only punt, if I had to say, like complete punt.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, it's the only one that Packers too. I guess they're not a punt, but Packers against Bo Nix. They're throwing so much more, Denver is, lately. I don't know if you've seen their like pass rate is just going so much up, and I'm looking at that Packers game and I'm like, do it against them.
Yeah, right.
I want to see that work.
I will just say, you mentioned passing more in the Broncos passing game. Pat Bryant is out today. He'd kind of emerged and taken over the wide receiver two, just from a snaps and route share perspective.
Yeah.
He was playing. Troy Franklin didn't play very much last week. Marvin Mims has been kind of nothing. Lil Jordan Humphrey is around. So it's not great because they're still going to do the Sean Payton stuff and rotate these guys. And there's Evan Ingram, right? And there's whatever. Yeah. But I do think a Troy Franklin bounce back or something like that without Pat Bryant is reasonable today, just like a total tournament flyer. All right. Flag plants. We got to give what's going to win tournaments today. It's going to be. I'm going to let you go first because I think we have all the same list of our favorite tournament takes. But we got to bring crunch time in. And let's do our flag plants first and see what's going to win tournaments.
My flag plant is Isaiah Likely. The Bengals are the worst defense in the history of football against tight ends. And I'm not like they've given up most catches, similar, or I think the most yards. And they're like 2 or 3 touchdowns away from breaking the record against tight ends. There's still 4 games for them to get to 17 games, or no, 3 games to get to 17, and we have 4 games left on the season. They might, like the Panthers gave up over 3,000 yards rushing last year. They might give up over 2,000 yards to tight ends this year.
It's just unbelievable. Isaiah Likely is probably my favorite tournament play, given ownership and price and all that kind of stuff. So I'm totally with you. I also just wanted to say, just if you don't even like what Jordan just said, didn't like bring it, just go look at what the Bills did last week. Go sum up the Bills tight end stuff. Like it's mind boggling, dude. It doesn't make any sense. I don't like really always believe in the versus position stuff. I've never believed in anything more than this in my entire life. Like, this is insane. Everyone's just going to score a million if you play tight end against this team. I will add Terry McLaurin. Jordan broke down kind of some of the schematic specifics and the, versus the blitz and all that kind of stuff. He's also just too cheap. Like at $5,400 Terry McLaurin against a bad defense. Like, we can get into the X's and O's all we want. Marcus Mariota's been kind of good for him, honestly. He had a big game against the freaking Broncos defense. I think he can do it against the Giants, whether they blitz or not, whether there's 10-mile-an-hour winds or not. I think Terry McLaurin bounces back with a really big game. So we got those two for some flag plants. Let's bring crunch time in, and we can get some of their takes and get you guys all the way up to lock. Beautiful. We stole TJ's flag plants. That's nice.
Nice. It's gold.
What do you got? What do you got for today, TJ? Besides what we just touted.
Yeah, my bad. I would just accidentally had my laptop sound on instead of this, so I was echoing crazy. Had to adjust some stuff, but we're back. We're good now. Yeah, Terry McLaurin was gonna be mine. I absolutely love him today. I have both McLaurin and Likely in my main lineup today, and so to just, I guess, pull somebody else from my main lineup that we can go with, I will say Jahmyr Gibbs, which is a little like less sneaky, but we got some cheap options there, and I'm rolling with Gibbs as my main guy today. I got the Gibbs Nakua mini stack with Mariota, McLaurin. Like,
do we have the same lineup? This seems like we have the same guy. I don't like this. I feel like I have the same lineup as both of you. And also, one question for the best ball guy, Eric. Do you think Trey McBride outscores Kyle Pitts in Week 17 when he plays the Bengals? Because that's the play. That's the championship.
I don't know if that will happen, but my entire year has been building up to, can I please, God, get Trey McBride to a championship round? That's all I want in my life, is just to have that. Because if Jackson Hawes can score touchdowns and like Hunter Henry can score 30 fantasy points, what will Trey McBride do to this defense? I agree. That's what I'm rooting for. Kyle, apparently all the three of us are going to lose together. Please please bring us back along to something that isn't our shared thoughts about this slate.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am in lockstep with some of these takes. I like Likely as well. It does seem like he's getting a lot of love on Twitter and stuff like that. So I wonder if he'll be a little bit more popular than maybe where we're projecting. So if someone is worried about that, you could maybe flip the script there and play Andrews, who I prefer. Likely seems like the more ceiling option, but I think the way I'm going to kind of try to find some flag plants is in this mid-range at running back. Obviously, you have Woody Marks, who's going to be a great play at a lot of ownership, but there's a couple of guys in this range that are, in running back by committees, or at least like 50-50 splits, that are in really good matchups. Guys like Tracy, Henderson. So these guys are probably going to be the range that I'm planting a lot of flags in this week.
I love that. Yeah, brought up some guys we didn't touch on or briefly touched on. But that's what these guys will do for you. If you have any more questions, all that kind of stuff, the chat's on fire today. If we didn't hit anything, keep them coming. These guys will get you all taken care of. And Jordan and I believe Neil will be back next week in week 16. My God, I can't believe it's week 16, but we'll see you guys next Sunday. Cheers.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
Good luck, gentlemen. What's up, everyone? Welcome to RotoGrinders NFL Crunch Time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. We will lead you all the way up to lock for the next 40 minutes. I am joined by Kyle Murray. Kyle, nice to see you. We haven't done a show together in a while. Oh, you are muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's been a minute, but yeah, I think the last time we did a show was maybe during Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's good to be back. Hopefully everyone has been having some success in the NFL streets, but taking a little bit of a hiatus from NBA to talk some football. I'm looking forward to it.
Heck yeah, happy to be doing this with you. We will, of course, go position by position. We'll cover both FanDuel and DraftKings together, and then we will take your questions going all the way up to lock. As long as you got questions, we will be here answering them. I will go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. I will go to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, all we ask is that you smash that like button for us. Take your mouse, slide it over, give it a little click. If you're watching on your phone or tablet, it's 2 steps. I'm sorry, but we still ask you do it. Hit the little X button. And then hit the like button after that. You got to hide the chat first. Mr. Irrelevant asking if this is the youngest panel in RG history. It might be close. Was it realizing it was Thanksgiving? There was me, there was you, there was Vanek was around. If I'm not mistaken, that is a young panel, because I believe that is our 3 youngest RotoGrinders analysts there. But looking forward to diving into this with you. Let's start going position by position, but I guess before we even do that, give me your general overview on this slate. What are some stacks that you like, and how do you plan on attacking the slate?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fun slate. I think there's been some news that we've gotten today that actually impacts the slate, which is not uncommon for the NFL, but like if you're like me and you're in the NBA streets, it's like you have this massive news every single day. And in the NFL, it's kind of, you get it either spread out through the week or not much at all. But this week we have a couple of Sunday morning announcements, with Quentin Johnson being out, Rashad Bateman being out, and Chris Rodriguez, most importantly, being out. So that's some news that I think is at least somewhat impactful. So that makes, I think, the slate a little bit more fun. I think from a stacking perspective, there's going to be a lot of interest in some of these mid to lower tier quarterbacks. And I guess like that 5K range. Brock Purdy's there at 6'2" on DraftKings. He's going to be pretty popular, I would assume. So I think that's going to be a pretty common range there. And you have Lamar Jackson, who I think will be maybe the most popular quarterback on the board, along with maybe Jackson Dart. So those 3 are probably going to be Dart, Stroud, Lamar, probably the most common stacks. I think all these guys are strong plays, but I don't think necessarily any of them are complete smash plays. I think Lamar would be my favorite of that trio. But I think you can make a case for a lot of different stacks, which I do like. And then I know I talked about the running backs a little bit. I think this is one of the more intriguing running back slates, at least recently, because you have Woody Marks here that's getting so much ownership. And I think it's fair. I mean, I think he's in the best spot possible. He's, going to be without Nick Chubb, elite matchup against the Cardinals, who not only have been bad this year, but they've been bad over the last month. So they, are trending down. But you have CJ Stroud, who's going to have some ownership as well. So I think it's a very interesting tournament slate this week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well. And I think it's shaping up to be a fairly easy cash game slate, especially if you want to just like, if you, let me rephrase that. I think if you feel confident in Bill and Jacoby Crossy-Merritt, then it's a very easy cash game slate, because you can play Marks, you can play Bill, you can play a cheap quarterback in Stroud, and just pay up for a plethora of these beautiful receivers on the slate. And so I do think if you're confident in JCM, it's easy. If you're not, That's when things get a little bit more difficult, because I think that is going to be a very big talking point that we'll get to when we get to running back. He is only $4,400. If you feel really good about his role today, you don't think Edmonds will be involved, you think Washington's going to be playing from a lead, he's the best play on the slate. If you're kind of worried about his involvement and how chalky he may end up getting, all of a sudden it's there's some holes that you can poke in that. So we will get to that when we get to running back. But first, quarterback position. From a cash game perspective, I guess the correct answer is CJ Stroud. But I'm not playing cash personally. But I feel like if it was me, I like Jackson better. I like Mariota better. I like Dart better. But I know that the projections are saying CJ Stroud's that
guy. Yeah, I think from a cash perspective, yeah, the projections are probably going to lead you to CJ Stroud. But I also think it's a little bit murky, because if you're playing cash, you have to play Woody Marks. So I think that gives you a little bit more of a reason. And again, yes, the projections factor in both these guys being on the same team. But when actually building out an optimal lineup, I would like to think that you can maybe add another layer to game theory there and assume that, if Marks is having this great game, which is likely to have a lot of volume, that's obviously going to take away from CJ Stroud. So, yeah, I think that would be the kind of the cause for me to not play Stroud in cash. And I think Lamar would probably be the guy that I go to. But again, you do have a $1,200 discount to play CJ Stroud. So for me, it would be probably Lamar or Stroud in cash. In tournaments, the list is, and I hate coming on the show and the list is endless. I obviously have a few of my favorites, but there's a lot of quarterbacks in play today.
My QB pool is bigger than my running back pool.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's probably something that many people are going to have. I mean, when you look at the projections, when you like sort it by, just RG value or point per dollar, obviously you have these top 5 guys: Dart, Stroud, even Trevor Lawrence, Mariota, Stafford, Lamar, all great plays. That's the top 6. But then you have Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow. These are 3 guys that I like a lot today. Even Drake May I like quite a bit. There's some weather in that game, but still think he's a good option. So yeah, there's like 9 or 10 quarterbacks you can make a case for. If I had to give like my top 3, I would probably say it's Lamar Jackson, Matt Stafford, and Jackson Dart today.
3 guys that I'm getting to a ton as well: Dart, Jackson, and who was the last one? And Stafford. That I'm getting to a lot. I really like Stafford today. A couple other I'll throw in there is Marcus Mariota. Really want to get to a lot of him today. I like targeting that Giants defense. And if JCM is going to end up getting steamed up here and we get a lot of Bill ownership, then I'm going to be going. I like Mariota a ton today. I also am getting to a little bit of Purdy, a little bit of Goff, and then Joe Burrow is the other one that I'm getting to in a decent amount of volume, just because I'm finding it's very easy to stack with him. You play Chase and you can pick 1 to 2 of Tinsley and Gesicki. You can play all 3 of them. And I really like how my Burrow lineups end up looking when I play Isaiah Likely there as well, Derrick Henry. It's just a really fun game stack to go with. And so I'm playing a lot of Lamar, but then when I'm playing Henry, I'm doing it often with a Burrow stack on the other side. I got 1 Mahomes team, 1 Josh Allen team, 1 May team, 1 Tyler Shuck team. But like you said, those are just like options for large field tournaments, not guys that I'm getting to in the same abundance as Dart, Mariota, Jackson, Stafford, Burrow are the 5 guys that I'm getting to the most in tournaments. Stroud, a guy that, like we said, a fine cash game option, but I don't really like CJ Stroud at this ownership today for tournaments. Running back position, this is where things get tough, because I'm keeping a tight pool, but we do have so many great options at the running back. You can spend all the way up to Christian McCaffrey and Jahmyr Gibbs. You can spend all the way down to Jacory Krosky-Merritt. You have Woody Marks projecting for a ton of ownership, but no Nick Chubb. He should have this backfield to himself, at least from a running perspective. We do probably see Agumbawale get a little bit more involved in that pass game. Barkley looks good. Henry looks good. Who are you prioritizing in the running backs today?
Yeah, I think the one struggle that I'm having on this slate at running back is this CMC ownership, because for me, CMC, obviously he's going to project as a good play every week that he's playing, but it all comes down to ownership for me here, because if he's going to be popular, I have no interest in CMC, which is the most horrifying statement to say. But I mean, I'm I have concerns that he's gonna, have limited workload. He's came into the week with an illness. Then he popped up on the injury report yesterday with a back injury. They're playing the Titans. They're probably going to roll the Titans. So I think there's a world where we just don't see the same amount of volume for McCaffrey in this game, and he really hasn't been an efficient player this year. Obviously, he's been getting a lot of his fantasy production done with receptions, so he can still get there. But this is a game where the Niners get out front really quickly. I mean, they're 12.5-point favorites. If they're up 14-0 before the first quarter ends, and CMC isn't racking up 5, 6, 7 catches, and then they continue to kind of roll the Titans, who have been really bad this year. McCaffrey's been dealing with some injuries. Maybe they give him some rest there. Again, that's more of like a tournament fade. I think if I had to, play an optimal lineup, I probably wouldn't play that angle because CMC is such a dominant force. But that's the concern that I do have. So if he's going to be popular, I don't mind going elsewhere. And I actually like building in this mid tier. For the spend up guys, I would probably rather play Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd probably rather spend down and play Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley at lower ownership. I like Saquon a lot this week. I like Derrick Henry a lot this week. So I think I like both of those options as potential pivots. I think James Cook is also in play in that range. So for me, I'm probably not going to get to a ton of CMC, but the range where I'm really finding a lot of interest this week is this 5 to 6.5K range. I think there's a lot of really good tournament plays. Obviously, we've talked about Woody Marks. He's going to be popular. I think he's deserving of the ownership. He's going to have his rush prop is 19.5. He's going to have 20 plus carries today. I think that's a pretty safe bet. He had 26 last game with Nick Chubb leaving a little bit early, and that was against the Chiefs. They're probably going to have a nice lead here against the Cardinals, 10.5-point favorites. So I think Woody Marks is a great play. If you wanted to fade him, it's only because ownership, in my opinion. I think everything else looks great for Woody Marks, but there are a lot of pivots. You have Judkins here at 6'3", Devin Neal at 5'3", Tyrone Tracy at 5'5", Trayvon Henderson, I think 6'1". So you have all these plays here in this mid-tier range that are guys who don't necessarily have the same amount of workload that Woody Marks has, but a lot of them have really good matchups. I think my favorite would be Tyrone Tracy in this range at 5'5", smash spot here against Washington. Devin Neal, 5'3", good matchup against Carolina. So for me, that's where I'm going to be trying to get as many running backs in this range as possible, because I think there's a lot of really good tournament plays here.
Very well said. The guy that I'm getting to the most is Gibbs, and I'm kind of with you. I do worry that everybody is just kind of worried about CMC's back and CMC's potential workload. I do think he's going to play. I do think he's going to be in today, but I am worried that everybody is going to pivot off of him to Jahmyr Gibbs just because of that ownership. And Gibbs ends up steamed up coming in like when the afternoon slate comes in at like 40% owned. That would suck. But even if it happens, I'll still be overweight because I have 67% Jahmyr Gibbs. He and Puka are just like my biggest stand today. My thought process for today's slate was I'm playing 20 lineups. There are so many stacks that I want to get exposure to because I don't really have one that like aggressively stands out. There's 5 that I like pretty equally. There's 12 different quarterbacks that I have in my pool of 20 players. And so my thought process was I want to keep a really tight core so that I can build all of these stacks around the same players. And as long as my core hits, I should probably have a couple stacks that hit with them as well. And so I'm going really heavy on the Gibbs Puka mini stack. And I'm playing a lot of those 2 quarterbacks as well, but the Gibbs Puka mini stack is where I'm going heaviest today. So I have 67% Gibbs in my 20 lineups. After that, it's Woody Marks for me. I'm playing him at about 50%. I'm going to have half my lineups with Woody, half of them without today. Travis Etienne, I like. Derrick Henry, I like a ton. I am getting to some Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I'll probably have about 20% of him today, and most of those will be built into Jackson Dart stacks where Washington gets ahead early, and then Dart is forced to throw a lot. I really do like, though, and I think this is an even better play now that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is going to be picking up some steam, Chuba Hubbard going against the Saints. I mean, if you're going to run 40 times against, I'm blanking on who the Panthers played last week, but a hell of a better run defense than the Saints. I could absolutely see this being another game where we get 20 carries from Chuba Hubbard. We get 20 carries from Rico Dowdle, and Chuba smashes at that price tag. So I don't mind him. And then a player that I'm getting a little bit in large field tournaments to go along with Marcus Mariota, like I'm playing him in Mariota stacks, is Jeremy McNichol. I think that's a really interesting large field tournament pivot off of Bill today. Same team, and just playing like, hey, Giants get ahead early. Washington has to throw a lot, and so McNichols is heavily involved. One guy I haven't mentioned yet, but this is probably my biggest stand at the running back position. Like I'm getting a ton of Gibbs, but a lot of people are going to get a ton of Gibbs. I'm playing a lot of Ashton Genty. The Eagles have been absolutely terrible without, and sorry, I kind of zoned out for a sec, so I apologize if you've already mentioned him a bit, but
no, you're good.
I saw all those bots and I was like, okay, I got to attack this now as soon as you were as soon as you were talking. But Ashton Genty is a guy that I'm really big on for tournaments because the Eagles have just been dreadful against the run without Jalen Carter. And he's somebody that I want to target that with at low ownership. Even if they get behind early, which they probably will, the Eagles should be rolling the Raiders. If that happens, Genty has been very involved in the pass game recently. And so I'm getting to a lot of him at low ownership as well. Wide receiver position. Who are you targeting over there today?
Yeah, I mean, up top is just absolutely loaded here. I would be hard pressed to find a more stacked wide receiver slate. I mean, you have Puka, JSN, Jamar Chase with no T. Higgins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashee Rice, Nico Collins, Devontae Adams. All these guys have been fantastic all year long. I think they're all good plays. I think it's tough to kind of separate all of these guys. I think my favorite personally is going to be Jamar Chase and then Puka. Puka, I think, is fantastic, obviously, every single week, but you have that added angle of, okay, maybe Devontae Adams is a bit, I guess, limited by this hamstring injury. I know he's kind of had this lingering hamstring injury, but it did seem like a little bit more of a question mark this week. I think maybe it was something they were kind of just playing along in the media to make it seem like it was more of a problem than it actually is, but you don't really need added narratives for Puka, but if that is a situation that comes to be, obviously would help him. JSN is probably the guy I'm not getting too much of because I think Seattle absolutely rolls the Colts. I mean, they pulled Phillip Rivers off the street 5 years out of retirement. I'd be hard pressed to see the Colts keeping up here. I know they have a lot of talent around him, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing the vision, but I just cannot see this going well. But to be fair, in the Colts defense, I also did not see it well when they pulled Jeff Saturday out of the booth of whatever network he was working for to be the coach a few years back. So and that ended up working out okay for them. So maybe Phillip Rivers is better than I'm thinking, but Seattle's a great team, 13.5 point spread. JSN can certainly get it done on limited volume, but I'm not expecting a ton of volume for him as I think Seattle wins and doesn't have to throw the ball all that much. So up top, Chase and Puka, certainly my two favorites. I do like Nico Collins quite a bit. I think if you're playing CJ Stroud, you can't play him without playing Nico. I mean, you could if you want to get really cute, but I would not advise for that. I think one of the more interesting plays on the board this week for tournaments is Michael Wilson. I mean, this guy has been an absolute freak with Marvin Harrison out. He has 10 catches in 3 games with no Marvin Harrison. Like, these are numbers that just really aren't heard of, and people don't seem to want to click that name because of the bad matchup against Houston. Yes, certainly a bad matchup, but if he's going to have 15 plus targets, he only needs to catch half of his passes to get there. Like, he does not need to he does not need to have an efficient game. So if Michael Wilson's going to come in at 10% or lower, I think he's a fantastic tournament play. I like him quite a bit. I know we have him at like 13% right now on FanDuel. I think it's like 11 or 12 on DraftKings. I think he comes in lower than that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he's all that popular. I think Nico Collins will be more popular than him. And I would rather play Michael Wilson at lower ownership and kind of play that better side of the game script with Arizona being expected to pass quite a bit, while I think Houston will be on the ground quite a bit. I think Zay Flowers gets a bump with no Rashad Bateman. I think that's kind of something that maybe hasn't been talked about enough throughout the course of this week. I know Zay Flowers had that absolute stinker, maybe one of the worst games of all time, by the way. He had a horrible game going into the fourth quarter, and then he fumbled. I think he finished with less than a point in that game, but it's still a great matchup for him against Cincy. So those are a couple of my favorites in the mid-range. I also like Juwan Jennings. And then the play that could potentially get me laughed off of the broadcast here, Brian Thomas Jr. I like him quite a bit in this spot. I think he's a great tournament play. Obviously, his floor is like 4 points, but I think his ceiling is massive here. This Jets team has been allowing a lot of explosive plays. Obviously, since their trade of Sauce Gardner, they traded a couple of their defensive linemen, so they're not getting a lot of pressure right now. The only problem is the Jags are probably going to win fairly easily, so you might not need a lot of volume. But Brian Thomas can get things done quickly. He can easily have a 40, 50-yard touchdown, a couple long catches. So Brian Thomas is a guy I like a lot today in tournaments.
What are you doing with Wan'Dale Robinson, who is projecting for a ton of ownership on FanDuel, where he's really cheap, lower on DraftKings, where he's a bit more expensive, but the scoring system does suit him a little bit better?
Yeah,
I have him X'd out. I have no Wan'Dale Robinson. Both of his really big games were with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, not Jackson Dart. And this is something that Rich Rebard noted on the Pick Six podcast earlier in the week, but he's third in fantasy points when Dart is the starting quarterback, and both Theo Johnson and Darius Slayton are in the lineups. It's Darius Slayton who is the number one receiver in terms of yards and fantasy points. Theo Johnson number two, with Wan'Dale Robinson third. And Robinson has a target depth of less than 5 air yards when all of those guys are healthy. So I'm personally going with the fade of Wan'Dale. What are your thoughts here? Does it matter against those stats? Do they even matter against a Washington team that's so bad?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly matter. I think it does go to show that the market is sort of, implying that all of these performances that we've seen from Wan'Dale Robinson, and a lot of them did not even come with Jackson Dart. That's kind of gotten him here price-wise, ownership-wise, and it's a different scenario now. I will say the one thing that I think is worth noting is we're probably not going to see as much Jackson Dart scrambles and runs, so that's going to take away from that and probably add more pass volume to the docket. He did still have 8 targets last week. It is an excellent point about the average depth of target. That's something that's certainly going to hurt his upside, but it's such a great matchup to where I think he can certainly overcome that. On FanDuel, that ownership is probably too high for me to have interest other than in Jackson Dart lineups. I still think that I do like Wan'Dale with Dart, but probably not going out of my way to play him kind of solo on FanDuel.
So a question about Jameson Williams. Is it crazy to play him? No, not at all. He's a very strong play today. He's going to be very, very highly owned on FanDuel. DraftKings a little bit lower, but he's still going to be pretty popular, but nothing wrong with that play whatsoever. Let's make the pivot to tight end, where Harold Fannin without David Njoku in a game with terrible weather just feels like a game he's going to get a ton of targets today. And he's projecting really well. He's going to get some ownership. It looks like a good cash game option, as does Theo Johnson. A lot of people, I think, we're going 2 tight end with those guys today, but maybe with that JCM ownership opening up, with that JCM value play opening up, I don't think as many people are going to be going 2 tight end as they were earlier in the day, at least. But Fannin, Johnson, and the Ravens are the guys that I think I'm getting to the most. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, mostly Isaiah Likely for me, but I'm getting a ton of Andrews as well. Kittle looks great, but I'm only doing that in Purdy stacks personally. Who do you like today at tight end?
Yeah, early in the week, Fannin was going to be a fade for me because his ownership was off the charts. Let me see where we have him now. 17%.
17% on both sites.
Yeah, we don't even have him as the highest projected owned tight end on DraftKings anymore, so it's not really a fade anymore for me. I think that he's a good play. Don't get me wrong. I think there's just a lot of really good plays. I probably am not playing many expensive tight ends today. Not again, unless you're using one of the quarterbacks. I think if you play Purdy, you can definitely play George Kittle with him. But for me, I'm probably going to be saving some salary at the position. Fannin is certainly in play. I like both Baltimore tight ends. I do prefer Likely. I think he's the higher upside option. But if he's going to be, more popular than Andrews, I don't mind flipping the script there. But Theo Johnson, I think, is a good play. You alluded to him being a guy with a good connection with Jackson Dart. I think Mike Gesicki is in play here at 3-3 with no T. Higgins. Even Colby Parkinson in this game that a lot of people have a lot of interest in for good reason at 3,200. So a lot of guys under 4K or 4K and below that are great plays. Those would be the guys that highlighted for me, though.
I'm actually going to be a little underweight on Fannin, which is scary for me, but I have 46% Isaiah Likely, and so that's going to be the guy that I'm heaviest on today. Theo Johnson, my second highest own, and then a 3-way tie for third. Mark Andrews, Harold Fannin, Colby Parkinson, I'm getting to in about 15% of my lineups. Like your Gesicki call, Jawan Johnson, another guy that I really like today. Carolina is very vulnerable to tight ends. They got that weak linebacking core. I like Juwan Johnson quite a bit. I like Kittle in my Purdy stacks. One other guy I'm getting to, I liked him more a little bit earlier in the week when we were so starved for value. But one guy I do have in one of my 20 lineups is Jeremy Ruckert, because I don't think the quarterback for the Jets, I don't think he's going to be able to get the ball out to the wide receivers. I think without Mason Taylor, we might just end up getting with a 5 or 6 catch Ruckert game. And at 2,500 on DraftKings, that might be all you need. Defense, we'll talk a little defense, then we'll start getting your questions in. We'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. We'll go to the YouTube chat second. Kyle, who are you prioritizing on defense today? Often, like for me, this is basically always a, hey, play whoever fits. Don't overhaul your lineup for a defense because of how random of a position it is. If I can get them, my top priority is the Seahawks, but I'm not like, if I have the salary, I'm going Seahawks. Maybe Jacksonville, but usually the Seahawks. If not, I'm kind of going whoever fits. And the guys in different ranges that I seem to like are mid-range, like a Bears and a Chiefs, a little bit cheaper, a Browns, a Packers, or a Carolina. And then if I need to full out punt, a Saints, a Chargers, or even all the way down to the Raiders.
Yeah, if I have the money for him, I think Seattle's my top defense. I also like Houston. I do like some of the Arizona guys. I think McBride's fine. Not playing him a ton myself because of price, but I talked about how much I like Michael Wilson this week. But I think we still play Houston. No team is throwing the ball more over the last 4 weeks than the Arizona Cardinals. So that will set up a lot of sack and turnover opportunities for Houston. Also like the Philly defense there with Kenny Pickett set to start. If you're looking for some punts, I know it's gross, but the Vegas defense at 2K flat. I mean, we saw Jalen Hurts turn the ball over 13 times last week. We know he's certainly capable. He's so capable of turnovers that he can make 2 of them on one play with that interception and then a fumble for Jalen Hurts last week. So, yeah, Vegas at 2K. If you're not playing any Eagles, think that defense is a fine punt. The Saints there at 2,500 would probably be my second favorite punt. Or then maybe the Giants there at 27. They certainly have a good pass rush to maybe get in on Mariota, but that team is clearly a team that wants to run the ball, so it takes away some of the potential sacks and turnover opportunities.
I like it. Yeah, I have the Raiders in my main lineup right now, and I'm pretty terrified about it, but we're going to roll it out there. Hopefully Max Crosby can wreak some havoc on that Philly team. Get your questions in. Make sure you have hit the like button. That's all we ask. Help us keep the lights on. Battle that YouTube algorithm. Hit that like button for us. It helps a ton. Andrews and Jets defense or Likely and Browns defense? Who you got?
I'll take the Likely side.
Yeah, Likely side for me as well. FanDuel Cash. Who is your top QB? I don't think it's at like... We have, if you can afford it on FanDuel, I like the idea of getting up to Stafford. He's priced a little bit more appropriately on FanDuel, or not appropriately, but like easier to get to from a cash standpoint on FanDuel, I think. Who is your top QB for FanDuel Cash?
I'll probably take Brock Purdy on FanDuel because he's 7.5. But if you're playing CMC, who I know is a little bit cheaper in context on FanDuel as well, Jackson Darson play or Stafford. I do like the Stafford call quite a bit.
I don't think there's a wrong answer on FanDuel if you're playing one of Lawrence, Stafford, Stroud, Dart, Purdy, Jackson, Mariota. I think all of those guys are very, very cash viable, but no problem for me for Purdy. No, and then I like we talked about, like Stafford there as a potential option. Going back to flipping back here for Discord. FanDuel single entry. Do you want King Henry, Michael Wilson, or Bill and Puka Nacua?
King Henry, Michael Wilson, and then Puka and who?
Krosky Merritt.
First one.
All right, let me scroll up in the YouTube chats a little bit here. Start getting some. What do you think about a double tight end build today with Isaiah Likely and George Kittle?
I've seen a lot of double tight end builds popping when running lineups on SimLabs and Lineup HQ, so I don't mind it. I just don't know if I do it with Kittle unless I'm playing Purdy. I think if I'm doing that, it's for salary purposes. But I mean, I certainly don't mind Kittle, so I can't like necessarily reject the idea.
DK Cash, would you go Gibbs or McCaffrey?
I think I'm going Gibbs.
I think so too. That's, I think, where I am leaning also, even in a cash format. Let's see here. What do you think about Brian Robinson Jr. today with likely them to be playing from ahead and McCaffrey potentially being limited in some capacity?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Millie Maker type play. Obviously, you're not only playing narratives and whatnot, but then you're playing narratives just to get playing time consistently for Brian Robinson, which is fine that you can do that in those kinds of tournaments. But yeah, I would say it's probably a little bit of a thin narrative type play.
I might have the highest scoring lineup in all of DK Best Ball this week if Christian McCaffrey were to sit out for some reason. The team has Jahmyr Gibbs. It also has Brian Robinson in like a 1 RB kind of build and then a whole bunch of backups. And it had Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts. And so that one has a chance to go pretty crazy this week if McCaffrey is limited or doesn't play. AJ Barner or Evan Ingram, DK GPP?
I'll take Barner there. Good matchup for him. He's got that sneaky tush push upside around the goal line, so I'll take Barner there.
DK large field tournament. Would you rather play Krosky Marin and Puka Nacua or Devin Neal and Jamar Chase?
Sorry, we got a Glazer report on McCaffrey being good to go. So what was the question?
McCaffrey expected to be full go, which as long as he's playing, that does kind of make sense because they very rarely actually limit him. It's kind of either he sits or he goes kind of thing. But DK large field, it was Bill and Puka or Devin Neal and Chase.
I'll take Bill and Puka there.
I like that side a little bit more as well. What do you think about ATN tonight against the terrible Jets run D?
I think it's a good spot. I mean, Jets can't stop anybody. The Jags should certainly score. The one problem that I have with Jags players is that if they just get out ahead, like for the pass catchers like Myers and Brian Thomas, if they're leading early and often, they don't have to throw as much. And then if it's a bad game script for ETN, where the game goes really haywire, they have plenty of guys that they don't mind giving carries to, and Tootin and LaQuint Allen behind him. So that's the one issue that I maybe have. But other than that, ETN looks good.
FanDuel GPP, do you want Stephon Diggs or Christian Watson? And it's clarified with Benford out. Should I play Diggs or Watson?
I'll take Diggs there. Watson's been great, but I'll take Diggs.
Adine wants to know he's got 3,900 left on DK for a defense. Basically anyone except for the top 4K team. Who would you be going with there?
Seattle.
Seattle for me as well. If unless I had Travis Etienne on my team, then I would probably go the Jags. But otherwise, it's definite Seattle. JCM and Amon-Ra St. Brown or CMC and Tinsley, DK Cash. We didn't talk about Tinsley too much.
Yeah, I like Tinsley a lot. For Cash, I think it's the Tinsley side for me. Again, like CMC, I think is a guy who I'm curious in fading in tournaments, but for Cash, like it's hard to really bank on that because again, there's a bit of a narrative angle to the fade for CMC, but for Cash, I think he's a good option.
What do you think about the Saints defense as a punt today?
Yeah, I think they're good. I mean, we've seen Bryce Young be Jekyll and Hyde this year, so he's had his really great games. He's had his really bad games, so don't mind taking a stab on that as a salary relief option.
Any faith in Justin Jefferson catching from JJ McCarthy tonight in the night game? No, not at all. I guess it's the Cowboys, but still, I don't have a whole lot of faith in JJ McCarthy. Do you think the New England and Buffalo game is going under-owned today?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a potentially really good game. I mean, I could see it being a defensive game like it was on that Monday night when they played earlier in the year, but both offenses are explosive. Two of the top MVP candidates in football at quarterback. So I guess maybe you're a little bit worried about the wind, But as Ross alluded to, they have that heated field in New England, so that's going to help with the cold. So I think it's an interesting game.
Wilson, game time decision. Josh Jacobs still expected to play for that evening game. And to make that clear, sorry, that's Emmanuel, not Michael Wilson. But that doesn't really matter if Jacobs is playing. What do you think about Isaiah Likely and Harold Fannin as a 2 tight end combo?
I think that's fine. I think that's a good way to go. Again, I think if you are playing 2 tight ends, it's to save some salary there. And you can certainly do that with both those. I think both of those guys have legit like 60-yard upsides here.
Kenneth Walker or Krosky Merritt, straight up?
Oh, Roma Dunze ruled out after aggravating foot injury pregame.
Ooh. With 3 minutes to go, what's Burden's price?
Feels like NBA. Oh. Yeah, I mean, Burden could be a pivot off of I mean, he's a lot more expensive than Tinsley, but like if you wanted to, it's certainly not
still like 4K. I would have really liked Burden.
Yeah. I mean, I still think he's a good tournament play. They looked like they wanted to get him involved in the offense more than DJ Moore last week. So it's just probably going to be an ugly game environment. It's going to be cold.
Bump up Browns D.
Yeah.
Would you we got 3 minutes left to lock. Let's go rapid fire here for these last few questions. Do you think DeMarcado being back for Arizona limits any Wilson or McBride targets?
No.
Regular season finale for all the money. Full PPR. You want Marks, RJ Harvey, or Terry McLaurin?
Woody Marks.
On DK, Woody Marks and St. Brown, or ATN and Wan'Dale Robinson?
Woody Marks side.
Yeah, I like that side a lot too. FanDuel wide receiver Michael Wilson or Jameson Williams?
It's Michael Wilson. It's close, but I like Michael Wilson quite a bit.
Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, DK GPP?
This is the question I've been asking myself for my own lineup. Right now, I have Henry because it's a Joe Burrow lineup that I'm building right now. But man, I think the Eagles would be stupid and not just feed Saquon today because Jalen Hurts has not looked good, and the Raiders have been bad against the run. So I'm going to say Saquon slightly.
Purdy and Jameson, this FanDuel cash, Purdy and Jameson Williams or Stroud and Michael Wilson?
Purdy and Jameson Williams, Stroud, Michael Wilson. I will take the Stroud side.
FanDuel cash, last piece, wide receiver 3, Jennings, Myers, or Brian Thomas Jr.?
I mean, I don't know if it's smart, but I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. I think the safer play is Juwan Jennings, but I think Brian Thomas has the highest ceiling out of those guys. I really think he does. I think he could catch 2 bombs. So I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. for the upside play. I'll go Jennings if you're looking for more of a safe play.
Last spot for tight end, Schultz, Fannin, or Andrews? Fannin, FanDuel GPP, Likely, or Barner? Likely. Someone asked about the afternoon slate. We will get to that right after we hit lock. Burden or DJ Moore, FanDuel cash?
Burden.
What do you think about Colston Loveland in this spot?
Fine, but I think there's better tight ends.
I know we hit this one already, but I can't remember what the answer was. Somebody asking again. Kenneth Walker or Krosky Merritt?
Krosky Merritt, if you can make something with the rest of the salary. If not, Kenneth Walker.
BTJ and the Saints defense, or Luther Burden and the Panthers defense?
BTJ.
We have hit all the questions. There we go. We did it. Great job, everybody. About 30 seconds left to lock, and there is lock. Woo! Afternoon slate. We got a really fun slate of games today for the afternoon set. What are your thoughts on kind of who you'd be looking to build around in that setting? We do have an afternoon only survey here at RotoGrinders. So if you want to check out premium and you don't have it yet, you can get yourself a 3-day pass for only $9.99. Get access to today's stuff, get access to Monday Night Football. Great time to get yourself an NFL 3-day pass, only $9.99. You get access to all the tools, SimLabs, lineup HQ, all of it. Plus, if you are in Missouri, congrats on now having sports betting. If you want links to all of the promos, right down there in the description below us. Who are you looking to target in these afternoon games? For me, it's just jamming in as much of Detroit and the Rams as I can.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a logical step. I think the only issue that I might have is that's going to be what everyone does. I mean, this is a game with 55-point total. Next highest on that slate is Tennessee and San Francisco at 44.5. So I think the way that I would do it is probably stack San Francisco passing game, not play CMC, and then get as many pieces in this Detroit game as possible. Devin Neal is a one-off play in that game that I like. And then New Orleans game. So those are kind of like my main thoughts on that slate.
I like it. I feel like I'd probably go to Chuba Hubbard on the other side, but I really like that build as well, going with the San Francisco passing game. We also will have myself and Tim tonight for the Sunday Night Football show, Vikings and Cowboys. Stay tuned for that one. We will be live at 7:30 Eastern time. Hit the like button on the way out if you have not done so yet. We got one more questions here. The lock had already hit, though, and I believe this game is locked, but Devontae Adams and Mark Andrews, or Likely and Rashee Rice?
The Devontae Adams side.
That'll do it. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. Good luck in all of your contests. On behalf of myself and Kyle, we will see you next time. Peace.